All right. So welcome to Arise 2021, the wonderful men's conference that you've been waiting for, that you were invited for. It's like, wow, when is it going to happen? I've got a fresh trim for this, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm so excited about it. I always love to work with the Visionary Academy as an ambassador representing because of the impact it has had upon my life, right? Personally, the Visionary Academy, the company sponsoring, hosting this. Wonderful conference that we're having now. So they're hosting through one of the ambassadors. You know, it's such an honor, such an opportunity to have this. Last week, there was even a women's conference, you know, and they were talking their thing, their everything in that direction, right? Concerning what's the next step in that direction. And now there's also the men's one. So it's such an opportunity. You can clearly see the trajectory of Visionary Academy, where we're going with this, you know, how we intend to move with everything that's happening. So truly it's an opportunity to take advantage of, you know, but I hope you're all happy. Over 10, everybody good, everybody can hear me good, you can see me, you're excited. Just give me a 10, 10, 10 in chat, 10, 10, 10 in the chat. Okay, cool. Yes. Great. So very timed event. Let me see just where I am now. So at 6:13. Great. So really, at this point, it's more of a call to action. I'll tell you a bit about the Visionary Academy, right? So the Visionary Academy has this vision, this aim, and that's to professionally develop young people for global impact. And today's conference is geared towards empowering and equipping young men to rise to excellence and honor. Okay, you know, we're really impacted by the information that we surround ourselves with. Okay, if you're in conferences like this, it tells a lot about you. Beyond all the things that you could possibly say you're doing to improve yourself or to demonstrate how that you're getting somewhere, being at conferences like this, you know, where you say a men's summit or a business summit or anything of the like, actually quite demonstrates where you're headed. You know, every time I speak with boss, that's you know, the CEO of Visionary Academy, you know, she's always so passionate and talking regarding having purposeful people, a purposeful youth, you know, who really know what they're about, know what they really want, you know, in life, being purpose driven. And so that's why she brings out initiatives like this. And I'm so on board for it because I know what it did for me. You know, I can say that I've had quite an early start to life and to waking up to some things that helped me at least achieve some things or get my mind in certain direction, right? And that's why, you know, with the rest of this year, I hope you've achieved some things for this year. But if not, that's completely fine because there's a realization point in life. And once you hit that point, bam, you start to do it. So that's why I'm looking forward to the rest of this year, some other interesting things we're going to be doing. For example, the Global Youth Empowerment Summit, because I can imagine some of you, you have people from everywhere that want to join. It's like, this is a men's event. We're going to talk a bit more about that. But at this point, I just want to call a few panelists up, you know, to be with me. I really hope you guys can turn on your cameras. And I want to just have a nice discussion, actually, regarding a few things. Okay, just a warm discussion. So I want to call up a few friends, a few young men as well. And I want us to actually get into some real talk, if you like, some real talk, if you like, you know. But it's that time where we call out the limitations, distractions, and things that, you know, society has tried to place on us and rise above those. See, rise above those. So I really want to get this. So I would like to first welcome, let me see the people that are here so I can call them up from here. So in the order of the ones I'm seeing here, I'd like to call up my brother Divine Oliver. Okay, Divine Oliver. I'd like to call up Onoye Ihile. And yes, let's start with You both first. So these are great friends of mine. Already shining, already glowing. I'm so happy Onaye could make it. So Onaye is with us all the way from Canada. An amazing guy, you know. I'll just edify a bit and then he can tell you a bit more about himself. But Onaye is an amazing person. I've known him for years and years and years and years. But if you're talking about somebody that's business minded as well and that's thinking quite ahead in terms of especially family wise, you know, at this age, right? Thinking for their family, oh, the kind of house we want to live in, oh, the expansion plans, how things have been going. These are the kind of people, you know, that we start to associate with, you know, on Dara's side. So that's Divine Oliver, amazing friend, known him for years. We're always talking business ahead, the future, what we can do right now. You know, how do we make change? How do we live above the means? You know, but I want you to hear their voices. I want you to hear their voices. So first, let me start with one AI. Can you hear me, bro?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Come on, let me pin you
Uh,
guys this discussion to work. Yeah, man. But definitely introduce yourself. You know, tell us a bit more.
okay. Uh, Hello, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say it's an absolute honor to be here, speaking on the panel to a bunch of young men and trying to empower them and help them break away from their limitations. I'd like to thank Dikanna and the people he is an ambassador for giving me this opportunity. Indeed, it is impactful in not only my life but in the lives of others, I'm sure as well. So my name is Onohie Hila, that's the full form, but you can call me Onohie. I am 18 years old and I attend the University of Toronto Mississauga campus in the pursuit of medical studies. Currently,
Oh,
I am in my third year of undergrad in biochemistry. I'm specializing in that. Um, on the side, I am on the side I do work. You know, they kind of mentioned this. I think it was like before school started. He was talking about building the bank, which is something that all young men should be doing at this age in their lives,
mm,
because eventually we will all grow up to be, heads of families, I'm sure. And having this discipline now would eventually translate into that then. But that's just the standard thing. Other than that, I'm a family person. I have a very big family. I have four brothers and one sister. I'm thankful to God that they're alive, and I have two parents as well. So, very family oriented, trying to see how I can better my family and help us live better lives here in Canada. Aside from that, I also do some things on campus, whether it's from the Christian community that is on there to uh, the science community that is on there. I'm active in those areas. But yeah, that's a bit about me. Sorry, I couldn't give you a bit more stuff. On the side, I guess like for a hobby, I like to play chess. That's something that
mm.
like keeps my
Oh
brain,
boy.
actively thinking, actively solving problems because that really
Keep
helps
getting
in
the
life.
pointers, guys. Keep getting the pointers. Chess.
Yeah, I like to play a lot of it. Whenever I'm bored, I don't just sit idly and let my mind wander. That's very
Mm,
bad. I rather like to challenge it to solve puzzles, get into very tricky positions, and try to find ways out of those positions and eventually make them winning, which is generally what life is about.
mm,
When you come across very very dangerous situations and you're puzzled,
yeah.
personally from a faith perspective, I would say take it to God in prayer, but then also you need to sit down, analyze the situation, think of ways you can get yourself
Yeah.
in an advantageous spot, or you can
Mhm.
neutralize everything. So
He's
all
already
these things that
sharing.
I
He's
do.
already sharing. He's
all,
already
the,
sharing. All
all
right.
these
All
things
right.
that
We've
I
got two
do.
other speakers
Yeah.
as well. I want to also call up Joseph. Joseph up here as well. Because he's also going to be speaking. But Divine, Dara, tell us a bit more about yourself. Just introduce yourself. Give us some nuggets. Give us some beans. You know, tell us about yourself.
Um, okay, sorry I'm outside, but my name is Divine, yeah, Divine Oliver in full. And I'm a student of University of Hertfordshire in the UK. And literally, I I believe I really have the the passion for business, the passion
Mm,
for growth, expansion. That's one thing about it's not just about getting into business. The one important thing about business is making sure you're impacting life through and the one important way to do that is through expansion. And that is one thing I always look forward to, not just staying in one place, moving, making progress. That's one important thing. That's a rule in my life. That's something, progression is a rule in my life, and yeah, I'm open to a lot of businesses. I've done a lot of things. I've done cryptocurrency, forex, done a lot of things, and I thank God for my family that, they are also business inclined, so they expose me to a lot of things. They don't just let me do my thing and I'm like a lone wolf or something. They actually put efforts to supporting me in what I'm doing. Venturing into different aspects of business. Business has a lot of sides. So basically,
I know. Everyone's so full. Everyone's so full. Everyone's so full. Calm down. Everyone's so full. Everybody wants to share. But I just want you to see the caliber of people. The caliber of people we've got here with us, okay? The caliber of people. And the important thing to really notice here, because, in this conference, it's not really just that. So somebody came up and he said, oh, yeah, here are your 5 tips for this, 7 tips for this, because I do YouTube, yeah? And we do all those tips. But no, it's the subtle things, it's the little things like, oh, I play chess. You understand? It's like, oh, I'm business minded. Oh, I'm thinking how to upscale. So in your notes and stuff, you're like, I should be a progressive thinker, right? These are the things that you're incorporating. But I also want to call up Brother Joseph, my brother. We've been so close, known him for quite a while as well. And, every time we're talking purpose, we're talking impact, we're talking spreading, that positivity, and even on the gospel side, talking big things like that, But yeah, man, just give an introduction, who you are, and all of that.
Wow. So honored to be here. Dee, always a pleasure to always offer you a hand in everything that I do. I'm so inspired about your tremendous impact that you've had on my life. And my name is Joseph. I'm currently a university student at Scotland. I'm 20 years of age. And I'm already started off with, the business side of things and also causing impacts in other people's lives. And one thing that I stand for is people to be successful organically, because I feel like people try to do success or have an impact on someone else's life in an artificial way, in a way that they don't really understand the time, the effort, or the logistics of being a successful person. So with me, it's like I have to, improvise and help people to gain success in an official way, in a way that they know the ins and outs, not just the visual side of it. Okay, we see someone successful. Okay, that's successful. How do you do it? And then I start to talk about this and that. That's not really beneficial to them. So for me, it's like giving them the real recipe of success and not try to sugarcoat anything that may hinder them from not being successful. So for me, just having a belief in someone that wants to be successful and providing them the organic way is becoming a success, because a lot of people sell ideas of being successful this way, and they get frustrated because they're not finding the right answer. So I'm just a person who's truthful in the way you can become successful. So that's some stuff about me.
Yeah. Speaking on success is a very big, so, I've introduced our wonderful speakers here, and basically what we're having is a discussion, right? Something like a mini panel to really open up your mind. And so, you may be able to chip in 1 or 2 questions to any of them, but I want to ask, based on going off what you said, Joseph, because you mentioned some great things about success, again, there organically, what's the number one thing that's hindering young men right now, young people, because we're surrounded by them, our mates, everybody. What's the one thing, if you could say one word, right, that's the one thing that's hindering most people from at least attaining that success organically, or being headed in the direction of success organically? What would that be for you?
For me, I think there's more than one
Yeah.
Way people are affected or not able to achieve the results they want. I think there's many stuff we talk about, environment factors, people being in a different background. And obviously, so when they get exposed to new ideas and new innovations, they kind of lost because all their lives they've been thinking one way. And so that could have a factor. Obviously, lack of opportunities. You're from an area where you're in the suburbs. You're now trying to look away that way to no way to obviously make money. Obviously, that kind of area you're looking at the drugs, you're signing up the stuff that don't really define success. So when I get exposed to new things now, you're able to capitalize on that and then utilize that for your advantage. And also the lifestyle people live, some people are too late to become successful. They think that, okay, that they need to put less effort in order for them to be successful. And that's the wrong way to see. If you think that being a success is just sitting at home, not putting any effort, then you're completely wrong, because success means hard work. You need to work hard. A lot of young people want the easy way out. They want the easy route. They want to take a shortcut. And that's what hinders people from not making a lot of progress in their life, because they want to get things fast. And that's where we talk about people, a lot of young people, they're going to doing fraud, they're going to also have been just to make quick money. But real success is from the hard work that you put in. The more work that you put in, the more successful you get. The more successful you get, the more value you have for yourself. And that's why I always represent myself, doing successful in an organic way to ensure that you can hit all your targets the way you want to achieve them, not because somebody's always successful and they're giving you vague ideas how to get there.
Yeah. I think that's great. Oni, what would you say? What would you say is the number one thing, if you could put it in one word as well? Because I know everyone's so full of life, full of wisdom. What's the one thing that, you think hinders or blinds young men, from really being in that direction?
So I would have to say, first of all, I'll try to make this brief, but first of all, it's the lie that the culture of today's society has fed them. The role models of today's young men are people who are very young, and they got their success in the most illegal ways possible. They follow people who have gotten money through doing things that are unethical, doing things that are immoral, and doing things that culture today sees as okay. And they do these things and they get money so quickly. And so other people, other young men think to themselves, well, if this person had it this way, why can't I have it this way? And another thing, as Joseph, who just spoke before me, mentioned, he said the fact that people do not want to work hard and work for a long amount of time to achieve success. If we go back to our parents' generation, I'm sure we can all say that for our parents, none of them became truly wealthy and truly rich, at the age of 25 or in their 20s, even in their 30s. We can't really, put a pinpoint and say this was when they became rich. No, it was a long amount of time of hard work and discipline and, amassing wealth, being frugal and just spending and truly allocating money to the proper things and not spending in useless things. So I would summarize it as the lack of discipline to work hard over a long period of time, and not having the proper knowledge of what to spend their money on. Rather than make investments, they make expenses. That is the one wrong thing about this generation. It's first of all it's first of all about the jewelry, the belts, the pants, the shirts. It's about all of that, rather than thinking to themselves, what is one thing that I can put my money in and I know that over time will bring money back to me? Things that accumulate or appreciate in value over time. They don't think of these things, or they don't think on these things. Rather, they think on what is apparent right now. So those are just a few things that I believe affects
definitely
youth in our generation.
Yeah. I mean, there's one more speaker as well, and that's Favor Frank. Yeah. And Favor is a young guy. He actually just finished high school, but I've always known from the start when I met this guy, his mind. He's always thinking business. He's always thinking forward. He's always thinking, can I become free? What's the way? What's the methodology? What can I get invested in? And especially on this bridge before uni, because a lot of people, I mean, especially when you have the opportunity as well to school, maybe abroad, separate from a country that maybe had confined you before. If you never knew why you were there, if you never discovered purpose, if you never really knew where you were headed, you tend to go with the flow, go with the crowd, you understand, and get lost. Joseph mentioned something really important about like environment and your background or the people you're even surrounded by in the now of your life. And it's like, if you're around the wrong people, it's going to show, because your vision, your passions, things will be twisted. But Favor, you're here. At least we have your voice. Just introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about what you're up to right now. And for you, I would say, what's the one thing that limits people from really getting in that success line for you? In just one word, please. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Dikanna, firstly, for inviting me to speak here. Honestly, I don't take this lightly at all. This is a huge thing for me. And thank you also to the co-speakers, the channel as well, for the opportunity of accepting me to them as well. So my name is Frank, and as Dikanna already said, I just graduated high school. And so what am I up to right now? I recently just started a social media marketing agency. So what we do is just to offer Facebook advertisements to local businesses. And so yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment. And I'm just going to be real quick. So what do I think? Sorry, the question again, please.
Yeah. So what really stops young people from getting in the success line right now, especially young men?
Okay, this is a good question. So what really stops people, I feel, there's this as we come down to generations, as we speak of one said, people just kind of lose sight of what hard work really is and what it really takes. And so what stops people is that generally people are just lazy. I just feel like people are lazy. And you can't really blame them because there's Netflix, there's social media. It's so easy to just wake up in the morning and watch TV or watch anything and text and chat on social media and then go back to bed and repeat. It's so easy to do that. So what's really the challenge, I think it's just the laziness and the lack of just that motivation, that extra push, I feel, because now we've come so far away from what we used to do, especially in this time with smartphones and everything. So what people really need is just that extra push, that extra motivation. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think definitely people not being, so we've heard right environment. Okay. We've talked about what would it be? The extra push as you were reiterating, continually. And then Onaya shared a few thoughts around, starting, what can I do right now? To yield something in the nearest future, whether it's short term, long term, I would also say maybe no one to wake them up, an awakening as well, because now we're in this conference or in this summit, got a few people, and it's like, okay, somebody who wasn't thinking in that direction will start thinking in that direction right now. Oh, someone who wasn't thinking in that direction will start thinking in that direction right now, because it's like, oh wait, hold on, I don't need to wait. I'll just share briefly. I remember I was with one of my mentors going through a store, and there was a hot chocolate, right? We've had a good day, and then I got him a hot chocolate, right? I got myself a hot chocolate. I got him a hot chocolate, and then the next thing he turned to me, I was like, see this young man, don't you know you're a student? And see, I felt so insulted because I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm a student? Don't forget to mute, guys. Don't forget to mute. But it was such a, I felt like students in that context meant like some kind of casing, of your financial power. You want 10 Snickers, you take one. You want this, you take this. It's such a minimalist mentality, And so from that day, I was like, nah, I can't associate with just this title or student. And so everything about me becomes flat. No, That's not the way to go. You can be a student and have a car. Recently, what was it? And I think it's even becoming common. A man at 19 bought his first real estate. What can't you do? What can't you do? So it's all about like, when did you wake up to it? Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to be surrounded with the right people? Are you willing to come to the right conferences? Stuff like that. And then those are the real game changers. I wish we had more time as well to take more. I think we have till about 10:45 to just continue this panel. But I guess the last thing would be, in a conference like this, to honor Joseph favor, in a conference like this, where we're really just rubbing our minds around success, around being purpose driven, around, okay, wake up to the reality of things. What would you advise to any young person that's attending? What would you advise to any young person that's attending this conference right now? A conference like this, what would be your number one advice? Let me hear from Onege first.
Okay, so I'm going to give 2 points and I'll try to make them very brief. So first of all, I would like to say, put what has happened in your past behind you. A lot of us are haunted by the mistakes of our past and we feel very limited by them. We feel very limited by our past failures, and it is really, really harmful to our mentalities and results in a lack of productivity, a lack of motivation, and a lack of moving forward. We live more in the past than we do progress forward. So this is what I would have to say to you. Whatever has happened in the past has happened for a reason. The fact that you learn from it and you move forward, you help pioneer your future in a better and a brighter way. Forget what has happened and move forward. You're not a product of your past, but you're a product of what you can make in your future. So the next thing I would like to say is start learning. You can say, oh, I don't have a skill right now. In many aspects, I may be, let's assume that you're one of the few people in this world who has no skill whatsoever. The majority of what I know about the good strategies to do business-wise in my future as it's coming up, either it be real estate or stocks and bonds, is because on YouTube, I was constantly watching people who are teaching me about these things. You need to start learning, whether it's books that you will pick up and read, or if it's YouTube channels that you would watch, or if it's summits like this that you will attend and gain things from. You need to start learning and you need to start expanding your horizon. It pays in this world to have skill. These days, people say, oh, I went to university, I finished top of my class, I decided to take, maybe some sciences, but yet a plumber or an electrician, in Canada or in the US is actually making 100K, 150K, which is probably higher than any job that you will land when you come out of your undergraduate, because they have skill. They have skill that is useful to the society. Wow. You need to start learning and you need to start building your skill sets. When you attend an interview, they always ask you, what can you offer us? What set of skills do you have that is going to be impactful in this store and in this business? And that is when you begin to list these things that you have learned. Are you a quick learner? All these different skills, like, are you a multitasker? Are you able to accurately do a task and be productive in it? So you need to start learning, and before you can get there, you need to put your past behind you and you need to start paving the way forward. So just 2 points very quickly that I'd like to share.
I mean, before Joseph comes on, one thing I'll tell you is note the people that are in the room with you, because let me tell you something. It's very interesting. The world only recognizes you when you actually hit the glory, right? When the fruits of everything starts coming out, but you don't realize the pace was set from like here. Notice the mentality, notice the work ethic, notice the way, they're thinking, because it's like, this is what's taking them. This is the bridge. I always say knowledge is or are the bridges of life. It's what they know now that they're implementing. By the time it's a mature tree and it starts bearing fruit, and now you're seeing it in every newspaper, you're seeing it happening everywhere. You're like, where did it come from? It started here. So at least you know the history of these people. Okay. So yeah, Joseph, come on, share some things with us. What's your advice to any person that's in here right now with meetings like this? What would you say?
Well, my advice is, first, you gotta have a hunger. See, if there's no hunger, then where's the desire gonna come for you to be successful? And also, if you want to succeed in life, it's about the decision that you're making, the time that you're investing. You see, at the moment, time's of the essence. There's 24 hours in a day. What are you doing to make impact in that 24 hours? What do you do? So you have to now schedule your time, create a to-do list, make a plan for your day to be productive. And finally, are you ready to make a change in your life? See, you have to make a change. You have to be ready to make a change. And this change may be a drastic change. It may be a little change. So you have to be ready for the change itself and also the obstacles. You know, we can talk about, yes, you can be successful, hard work, and you have a lot of money, but then you have to be ready to conquer the obstacle that comes to you. So for me, it's just get ready to make a change, invest in your time wisely, and make the right decision in your life, and also overcome your obstacles because they're there to strengthen you and build you up to your next level.
Come on, come on. Straight facts on this. I mean, there's obstacles, there's distractions, there's all kinds of things that are going to come with you, especially when you want to swim against the tide, because I mean, the natural progression, and this is very key. The law of entropy, something I believe like that. And it just shows that everything goes down. Basically, everything goes downhill. Everything is tending towards death, right? So the moment you say that, I want to win, I want to succeed, you're trying to say, I want to go against the natural order, right? The way things are already gravitating. And so the world is going to be hitting you. It can manifest in different forms, even as close as maybe your closest friends, your own parents, out of protection and love for you, different kinds of things, but it's balancing that whole thing that forms that character, balancing everything, like Joseph said, obstacles that are building you, building your resilience, like your person, so this is very, very key, very, very key. So, be willing and be hungry. We're hungry. I think hunger is everything in terms of invention. People just think, oh, what if we could, would it be possible to, and then bam, it's an idea as crazy as that, and then they're able to pursue it, and then bam, we have this latest invention that people are going to pay you millions for. I would say, I mean, if you want to become a millionaire, I was at a certain place. I don't want to disclose the location, but some people may be able to think where this may be, and to everybody in this role, it was like in this front row, it was like, you'll be millionaires, you'll be millionaires, you'll be millionaires, and you're hearing it, and I grew till I grew out of that place, and I don't know if how many millionaires materialized out of that. Now, it's no shade to nobody, but the thing is that life is not without principles. Which of them is thinking of an idea, a product, a thing that they will do, something they'll be involved in that is worth $1 million? $1 million idea, $1 million project. You understand? And it's not really about the money. It's not about, oh, do I have the money to create the product? It always starts with desire. The house you're living in, the building you're living in was somebody's heart, somebody's mind, somebody's projection. Oh, could we have this? You're living in someone's mind right now. See? So is that, did you have it before? Like, did you think about it? This is, this is an idea. Let me tell you, in my Evernote, yeah, I've got like a list of things. It's one reason I know I can't be broke in this life. We have a list of things. You understand? Like, even if this one does, there's the next. You understand? And it's not really about, oh, whether some people are like, oh yeah, I don't want to be famous, I don't want to be known. We're not talking about being known or anything. We're talking about standards for your own life. You understand? Your own life, like your own personal grace, your own personal way of rolling. Do you understand? So it's very, very key. I want to hear from Favor, if you're still there. Just tell us, what's the one advice? Somebody has actually made out time to just be in this conference, whether it's here 5-10 minutes, of something reasonable. What's the one advice you'd give them, through it all, in order to, fully participate and really move on?
All right. So you said it's basically about hunger. I think that's my number one. I think you have the desire to really to improve yourself and to change. And the second thing is the compound effect is real, and honestly, it applies to so many things in life. So how I see things is that everything is an opportunity to learn, and knowledge compounds as much as wealth compounds, right? So if you're learning this today, what happens is that 3 months from now, when you have opportunities to get these kinds of conferences, what happens is that you learn something from it 3 months from now, you realize you're not the same person you were like nearly 3 months ago. So everything compounds, knowledge in particular compounds, and it grows and increases because the thing does become easier. So you come to these conferences, you discuss with people, you find new ideas of things to go about, you try it out, and then, okay, maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but then you learn from it, and you have that experience in your knowledge bank, which then compounds because you then move on to something else, and then you already have that experience.
Yeah.
And that just gives you the edge. So just completely open your mind in conferences like this and be ready to learn and grow. Especially like I feel myself growing. Like I see myself 2 months from now
Come on.
so different from how I am now because I've
Yeah.
implemented something that I learned. So yeah, just be open to learning. Just grab everything, soak up everything.
Yeah. Honestly, someone once said, a word is enough for the wise. You know what it means? The wise man is able to use one word to actually make his future. He doesn't need too many. So grab at anything from this conference, from any of the speakers, and be like, you know what, this is enough for me. I'm going to go with this. I'm going to shoot off with this. Like Joseph said, it may be a small change, it may be a radical one, but whatever it is, you're changing. Right? You're a change agent. You're actually moving forward. But just before I hand over to our wonderful, wonderful guest speaker here, or one of the speakers at this, I want to hear briefly from Henry. Henry is also here. Henry is another international business mogul. Okay.
No, I don't do that. I'm trying to be like you, man.
Okay. He's always said, I'm trying to be like you. I'm trying to be like him. But, I
nah.
Henry was somebody, we went to school with and everything, we graduated with, but of all of us, Henry's feet have touched the pedals more than us all, I think.
Who said
Henry's,
that?
Henry's
I'm
stretching,
still
and all
I'm
that
still
good
walking.
stuff. But I want to ask you, Henry, briefly, just
Yeah.
before I hand over, what's the one thing that drives you? I mean, towards being better, bigger, more mature, successful? I mean, you run a podcast, you're very active within your church. Last time I spoke with him, he's helping out in two services, like for two different people and different things. Like the point
Yeah.
is, you see a person that wants to give to society. What really drives that? What really inspires that?
What really inspires that is I believe, or no, I know, like what one of my love languages, if you know what love languages are, love goes two ways. Is how you give or how you receive love. And I believe how I, show people I love them is by my acts of services. Like I'm a great servant, and I know people don't like using that word like servant, but I love using the word servant because I
Mhm.
love it. I enjoy serving people, and I think that's one thing that drives me to do exactly what I keep doing all the time.
Yeah.
Just serving people to the best of my ability is just something I enjoy doing. And I
Yeah.
would say when it comes to doing this, one thing that will help is the power of consistency.
Mm.
You know, in shooting in like doing my podcast, there's been maybe like a time or two where I didn't feel because I record like bi-weekly. So there are some like weeks I feel like, man, I really don't want to like, do anything like right now, or I'm so close to like the deadline, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
I have to do this because I have set the deadline and I have to like follow up on this. And I'll say consistency helps you in ways that you might not know. Like you have to be consistent even when like no one is looking because you don't know where your seeds are falling into. I was talking to like one of my friends from church and he was basically telling me that his cousin he for like a year he's been like telling her you should start doing this, you should come to Christ and all that, but she's like basically like been putting him off. So like for 1 year consistently he's been sending her like what's it called messages. So imagine sending someone messages back to back to back like for 1 year, even when the person doesn't even appreciate that or not, but he just kept on doing this. So it just happened like a couple of months ago that she finally realized, hey, okay, I want to start off this my journey
Wow.
and all that. So if he wasn't consistent enough to keep doing this for like a year, he
Mm.
doesn't know, like, he won't know where he is with journey. So, one thing I'll say is, be consistent in whatever you do, no matter how small it is. If you can be consistent in the small things, you're going to be able to manage the bigger things. So that's what I believe, consistency
Sure.
and, just enjoy serving people because
Yeah.
in serving people, you can get connections that, will take you to further places. And sometimes don't do it for, because I know a couple of people like like money and all that. Don't necessarily do it for like the purpose of getting money. Try looking at the bigger picture, like the connections that you can get and all that.
Mm.
um I recently got like an internship, and it's a free internship, by the way. And I'm an engineer with a business degree, so I'm just like, why would I be working? But I'm like, I just had like the first interview like earlier today, so I'm like, after talking with these people, they're like people that are going to like invest in me, and maybe there might be money, maybe there might not be money, but like the connections that I'm going to get after this is going to be far greater than the money I'm going to get. The money is going to come for sure, but like the connection is something that's going to be really, that's just like a little nugget. But yeah, thank you very much for this, Dikanna.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you can hear more of Henry's wonderful gems on this podcast as well. Just be marking our names, we're marking the names, yeah. So I mean, he shared some lovely stuff. Consistency, and the first point he mentioned as well, I think it stands out. It stands out on his own, really. It stands out on his own. A heart of service, love, really. These are things that are not really common because I see like with a lot of young people, young men especially, their background, the kind of thing that they're going through, everything, maybe they grew up in what you call the hood, where, I mean, everyone, one thing or another happens, a kind of hardship. It tends to make you also a hard and difficult person sometimes, and sometimes they see it as the only way to go, is that hard route of, getting into all kinds of unethical behavior. But we need to rescue the youth. And let me tell you, one of the ways that we will do that is by having more young, successful people, because people feel your success. They literally do. When you're successful, they're inspired. Like, you know what? This is interesting. I was listening to, I won't tell you the rapper, but he was just talking about his story. And he said by the time he actually discovered wealth and money, he saw a life that he didn't know existed. Coming from like where you're involved in all kinds of crime. By the time he actually saw the real money from all that, the industry was, it was like, oh, when you see that this is a life that's possible, you just want it for all the other people. Like you're just like, wow, what about my guys that are still stuck in that life, stuck in that past, So that's why we're talking about things like overcoming your past and bringing out the best in you and things like that, because this is needed. This is really needed. But thank you so much, Henry, for sharing that. That's actually so amazing. That's very, very amazing, And then even your point on friends, on people, one thing is if you just made a lot of money, that can run out. But if you have people that really like are free with it, that know you actually have the connections, you're likely to have a lot more money in the long run and stuff, because there's always initiatives, there's always moves. And then by the time you're surrounding yourself with people that have a lot, you're surrounding yourself with people that are generous as well. So they're always willing to lend out a hand and different things. And trust me, beyond them also lending to you, you're also going to lend to others. You're going to lend to others, because that's the way it works. You build your bank and you help others. That's what we're doing. So at this juncture, I hope you've really enjoyed this panel. You've heard from different wells of wisdom. I want us to transition. So thank you so much, to the wonderful speakers. I've contacted you guys and you really pulled through. I'm so thankful, to have your wisdom on this platform today. I want to hand over now. And yeah, you can also turn on your cameras. There's no crime against turning on your camera. In fact, it has shown that most people that turn on their cameras in these kind of Zoom meetings, they're the one that, you understand. So turn your camera on, feel free to turn your camera on, maximum engagement. But I want to hand over to the amazing Sean. I don't want to butcher the surname, so I'll just say
you can't.
God.
No, it's
God.
you can't. No, there's no wrong way of saying it. Don't worry.
Okay, Wainerdi.
There you go.
Aha. Yeah, thank you so much. He's a successful business and youth leader who is passionate about serving and mentoring people, right? And this is Arise. We're surrounded with a great community of people who are ready to give you these gems that you would have for life, to take you and make your own pearls. I don't know if you guys felt the connection. But yes, without further ado, I'll be handing over to you. Awesome, Sean. Thank you so much for honoring this, and looking forward to learning already.
All right. Hey, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I'm just going to try to share my screen here just for a second. Give me a second trying to get the presentation up here. And while I'm doing that, hey, I just want to say, really appreciated what Henry said just there. I'm basically going to be expanding on what Henry's saying. You know, I think there's nothing wrong with, you know, pursuing greatness. You know, it's like pursuing, you know, things like money and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, it can't be the end goal. You know what I mean? It just can't be the end all be all of everything. And so, you know, there's going to be connections. There's going to be all sorts of things. And it's going to be really important to sort of define that. All right, and just give me a second here. I'm not sure why it's not letting me share my screen. There we go. Oh, it's saying I have to quit and reopen, Dikanna. No, it says if I quit and reopen, I can share my screen. Why is that? I'm not sure.
Oh, gosh, jolly.
Oh, no. Zoom will not be able to record the contents of your screen until it is quit. Okay, it's because it's recording, apparently. All right, Dikanna, here's what we should do. Maybe ask one more question of the panel. I'll restart, and then I'll get back, and we'll be able to share this, okay? And then we'll get going.
Alrighty. Thank you very much. Okay. Let me throw it to the crowd, or the people we have here. How are you finding the session so far? Who's been impacted? You've learned a few, one or two beans out there, nuggets. You've taken it. I'm also noting some things from here as well. You noted something. You've noticed something in there. You know, you're like, interesting. Nice to rub my mind around this. You notice something? Just feel free to interact with the chat. Also, if you have a question for like anybody here, you also can go ahead. You know, go ahead and throw it in the chat box. You know, be bold, or you can DM me on this, direct message me. You know, some people don't want it to be seen there, but you can definitely DM. You know, definitely DM. Yeah, but okay. While rubbing, so Sean is already back, I think. Is that?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hey, all right, you got to make me a co-host again, I think.
Yep.
All right, you got that. Let's see. Hopefully this works here. All right, this is looking good. All right.
We're in your world now.
Exactly. All right, let me just get this here. Okay. All right, can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, you see the one that says Sean Wainerdi pursuing excellence there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then let me get my video here on. Okay, cool. All right, let me see if I can move this. Oops. Okay, well, hey, thanks so much, Dikanna and team. You know, really appreciate you guys inviting me to spend some time with you. I know some of you all are in kind of the European area, so I guess it's night there for you guys. So really appreciate just connecting and getting to meet everybody. Yeah, so my name is Sean. I lead. I work in a medical device field. I lead a team over in the medical device area, but what I really love to do is speak and teach. And today I'm just really excited to spend some time with you talking about this idea of pursuing excellence. Hey, Dikanna, can you see the videos on my screen? Is that in the way? Or do you see any notes or anything like that?
Excellence and your name.
Okay. All right. You see everything you need to see. Okay, cool. All right. Well, hey, I really like this idea of pursuing excellence. You know, it's you know, I think it's something we can all relate to, and based on the panel this morning, you know, it's certainly something that was on the minds of the panel. And on the surface, I think we all want to be excellent, right? You know, we all want to, you know, be excellent in what we do, or at least have an excellent life, right? You know, some sort. I remember when I was a young man in high school, I had these big dreams, you know, of trying to, you know, just for my life, right? I wanted something good for my life, right? I either wanted to be, smart. I wanted to learn and just be kind of top of my field or class or something, be special in some way there. I wanted to have a wife that I loved, a family that was healthy and happy. I wanted to live to an old age. I definitely wanted to avoid any suffering, any sickness, any death. And so I wanted to live to an old age. I wanted to travel the world. I saw these people all over the world. I wanted to do that. That looked good to me. I also wanted to have an impact. They say, kind of, especially younger folks, we all want to make an impact on the world, right? And so I wanted to make an impact somehow. I didn't know exactly how. So I had my own ideas, on what it meant to pursue excellence. But, the interesting thing about pursuing excellence is that it can mean different things, right, to different people, right? It's a little vague because each of us are most likely pursuing different things, right? Each of us, even on the panel, we're all kind of thinking a little different ways about our lives, where we want to go, what we want to do. And each of us has our own set of priorities. And so the idea of pursuing excellence in each of our lives is going to look different, is really the point there, right? And I think that's a really important concept. Pursuing excellence in your life requires that you have a clear understanding of what you're trying to do. I think if you take anything away from today, it's really about trying to get clarity about what it is you want your life to be about. It took me a long time to get clear on that for myself. And if there is one thing that you remember from today, it's this idea that you need to know where you are going if you want to get there. Okay. And especially if you want to get there with any semblance of excellence, right? If you want to get to your destination in an excellent way, you have to know where it is you're trying to go. And a great illustration of this idea was developed by a man named Lewis Carroll. He wrote a book a long time ago called Alice in Wonderland. And I'm sure most folks have heard of that book. It's a really old book, Alice in Wonderland. And it's about a young girl that goes follows a rabbit down a hole and ends up in Wonderland, and she meets this cat, right, the Cheshire cat, and they have this exchange, this discussion, and the exchange goes like this. Alice asks the cat, "Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here?" And the Cheshire cat says, "Well, that depends a good deal on where you want to get to." And Alice says, "I don't much care where." And the cat responds, "Then it doesn't matter which way you go," right? It doesn't matter which way you go. And Alice says, additionally, she says, "Well, as long as I get somewhere." As long as I get somewhere. And the cat says, "Well, are you sure to do that? If you only walk long enough." And, the point here, and the reason I even shared this was this idea that, look, you're guaranteed to get somewhere in your life. We're all going to get somewhere. It just might not be where you want to go. Okay. It might not be where you want to go. And so what I thought I could do today is, bring you through my own journey as I worked out, throughout my life thus far, as I worked out my own purpose, right, my own priorities for my life. And I really hope that allows you to reflect on and better define your own purpose and priorities. Okay, that's really what I'm hoping you get out of today. So I wanted to give you a little history on me to do that. I was born and raised in a couple states here in the U.S., Texas and Michigan, and I grew up in a family that loved each other. Okay, they loved each other, but we had some really significant challenges. My mom, since I was little, really since as long as I could remember, struggled with addiction to pain medication. Okay, she had a really, really powerful addiction to pain medication, which was really hard. And my dad traveled a lot. He was gone a lot for work. He was working a lot. He was out of the country a lot, and he struggled with codependence, which he really struggled with my mom's situation. Okay. And ultimately they divorced. They got divorced when I was in ninth grade. And the years after that, were really hard. My mom continued to have that addiction, and, I was living in different places. And I remember being just devastated by the whole situation and really feeling lost. And, my vision for my life was already sort of falling apart in a way, right? And there was a real moment for me where I began contemplating and really thinking about a big question for my life. And that question was this, what's my pursuit? What's my pursuit? What is the purpose of my life? I honestly had not thought about that much before. And I don't think many of us do when we're young, right? We don't really think about this seriously until we kind of get to the point where we're kind of going out into the world. But, I was really struggling with this question. I hope you can relate to me. I don't know if you're listening on the phone, I hope you can relate to this question. I mean, if I were to ask you, what is the purpose of your life? What would you say? In fact, I want to encourage you, if you have something next to you, like a piece of paper and a pen, or if you have a phone, open up a note, right? Just real quick, it's just for yourself. But, jot down the first thing that comes to your mind when I ask you this question. What is the purpose of your life? And see if you can kind of, articulate it now. What is the goal? What is the ultimate goal for your life? And for me, to be honest, I had many. I think the first and foremost for me was security. Growing up, there was a lot of instability in my home. There was a lot of chaos in the way kind of things were going. And out of that came this desire for stability. And so to me, in my head, stability came by way of money. And so I wanted to make enough money to not rely on other people, right? I wanted to make enough money to control my circumstances and be safe, right? And be stable. And so security was one of the things that I began to pursue. And after that, I sought status. I also sought status. I saw how people respected those that were in high positions, people that were in high positions. And I saw how much control those people that were in those high positions, had over their circumstances. And I wanted that. It's like I wanted that ability to control my situation. And so status became one of the things I began pursuing. I also wanted to make an impact. I wanted, like I mentioned earlier, I wanted my life to mean something. I wanted, to make an impact on other people. Like I think we probably all do. We want our lives to count for something. So I began pursuing a life that would make a meaningful impact on the world. I wanted that to be true about my life. I didn't really know exactly what that meant, but I wanted my life to make an impact. I also I didn't want to miss out. You see, watch on TV or Facebook or Instagram, and you see all these people everywhere, in these wonderful places. And I was like, man, what is life? I thought, if not to enjoy the experiences, right? And, people would say life is short. And so in my head, I was like, okay, maybe my life is about getting good experiences, and not missing out. I also wanted a family, not just any family, but I wanted a healthy, functional family, kind of, something better. I wanted a wife that loved me. I wanted kids that loved me. I wanted people that would be around me that I could share my life with. And so I began pursuing a life that would include a family. It was on my head. It was kind of on my list, if you will. And lastly, I wanted to have a long life. I wanted a life that didn't involve sickness and pain. A lot of, I've lost number of family members to different things, usually cancer or heart disease or, stuff like that. But, I wanted to avoid all that. I wanted to have a long life. And so I began kind of pursuing that. And so, either through health or ended up kind of in a bad way, turning into a kind of an obsession. But yeah, these are all things that were on my mind. And so, as you take a step back, take a step back and look at this slide and the things that are on the slide, you'll notice that none of these things are necessarily by themselves bad, right? None of these are necessarily evil things, right? But what I learned in the years that followed, was that these things become bad when you make them the foundation of your life. Okay, when you make these things the foundation of your life, they become bad things. They become hazards, right? Rather than blessings, when you make these things the sole pursuit of your life. And that's because they don't last forever, right? They're temporary things. They're not stable things, right? They come and go, right? And they're things that you don't have control over. And, so for me, without realizing it, what I was doing was building my life on things that were temporary. I was sort of basing the goodness of my life, on how much of these things I could get. And since these are things were temporary and they change and they were inconsistent, it led me down sort of a darker path. And I started realizing this as I encountered different challenges in my life, with respect to security and money. I would just get devastated or anxious when I'd get rejected for jobs, right? Or I wouldn't get a raise, or there'd be a layoff, and I would just get really anxious, and it would just it really disturbed me. With respect to status, I'd get, bad performance evaluations, or I'd disappoint my boss, or I'd miss out on promotions. And I found myself exhausted trying to get these right opportunities, because this was an end all be all kind of thing for me. This was how I was grading my life. And with respect to impact, I found myself frustrated in a job that I didn't feel like was making a difference. And I would wake up each day just dreading work, because I didn't feel like it was having the impact that I wanted on the world. And with respect to experiences, I'd get jealous, because, you'd be on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and you'd see all these things that people could do, and I wasn't able to do them. And it was like, I just became jealous, right? And going through Facebook was never a fun experience for me. I'd delete Facebook and then reload it, and did that 100 times, I said. And then with respect to relationships, I found, myself without a wife and unsure if I'd ever find one. And once I did find a wife, we're frustrated. We were unable to have kids. And so there was there's a disappointment and exhaustion there. And then with respect to health, as I mentioned earlier, I kind of became obsessed. I found myself in and out of doctor's offices, scared that something was wrong with me. I had something, going on that was going to take away my goal of, living a long life. It was weird. It was a terrible feeling. And, what happened was I wanted all of these things above all else, right? And when I didn't get them, or I felt like I was losing them, I experienced what ended up being a really dark period of my life. Like I really felt like I was a failure. I really felt like I was a failure. And I became very anxious and depressed. And for those of you who have experienced depression, how terrible it is, and how at times you can feel hopeless and really paralyzed. And for me, I began to shut down. Like I began to really be paralyzed as I was kind of living out my life. And the best illustration for what I was going through, or the best illustration I can think of, is one that Jesus gave to his disciples in the book of Matthew, right? He says to them that those that hear his words and do not obey him, or obey his words, are like those that build their house on sand. Okay, and and he says that those that do obey his words are like those that dug deep and built their home on rock. And I was finding that I was building my life on a fragile foundation. right? A fragile foundation. I was building my house on sand. And, when a storm comes and the wind hits and the rain floods, a house that is built on sand will collapse, right? A house that is built on sand will collapse. And that's what was happening to me. All right, I built my house on sand and my house was collapsing. My life felt like a failure, and I felt like a failure. And I had a number of things happen that ultimately led me down that path of anxiety and depression. And it was by far the worst experience of my life. And I don't know your situation, but as I mentioned, if you felt that depression, that hopelessness and that feeling of just an unbearable, it's just an unbearable feeling. And that's what I felt. And I felt that way for a long time. And I began to be so desperate to escape it, right? I began to be so desperate to escape that anxiety and that depression that, I began looking for help. I went to a counselor. I found someone that I could trust and just kind of, began talking with them. Some of the, a Christian counselor. I began reading the Bible, a lot more intently. More in a searching for answers. I began praying passionately that God would show me how to escape. And he did, through that counselor and through my family over time. It took time. Through reading the scripture, through the Holy Spirit, God showed me this truth that I was building my life on things that were insecure, things that would fade away, things that were temporary. And instead, God revealed to me how to dig deep and build my life on something secure, right? Something that does not fade away, something that lasts forever. And that foundation was God himself. It was the work of God, of Jesus in my life. And what I realized through this process was that despite hearing about God in the past, like for me, despite I'd heard about God, I knew about Jesus, I heard about what he had done for me, but despite all that, I'd never really accepted and experienced what he had done for me. Right? I never really made that part of my life. And so what I want to do with you just for a few minutes here is share with you something that was shared with me. And I hope it gives you a little perspective, because the goal here is to help all of us define better our purpose and our priorities so that we can pursue them with excellence. Right? I mean, I think what I'm trying to do is show you that, look, it's easy to say, I want to pursue excellence with my life, but you have to define what it is you're pursuing. You know what I mean? You can do something excellently, but you got to figure out exactly what it is you're going after. And for me, that was a big process here. And what I want to share with you is something that helped me here. In the midst of my suffering, I began to desire God's design for my life, whatever that was going to be. Right. And what I learned from the Bible was that God has a design, right? God has a design for every aspect of my life, right? Every aspect of my life, every aspect of your life, he has a design for. He has a design for your relationships. He has a design for your finances, for your work, for your decisions. He has a design for everything. And the Bible says that when we live according to this design, we experience God's blessing, which is great. But all of us, including me, and certainly including me, have this tendency to deviate from God's design, right? And that deviation is what the Bible calls sin, right? And when we sin, we leave this design, we deviate from it, and we experience brokenness. And we all know what this feels like, right? The brokenness is what I was experiencing, and I'm sure the folks on the phone here have experienced this. It feels like shame. It feels like anxiety. It feels like emptiness. It feels like regret. It feels like guilt. And when we come to this place of brokenness, all of us try to fix it somehow, right? We all take some action to fix it. We're trying to mitigate the pain, right? And we try to escape it in different ways. And for you, you might try to fix it with more money, right? Trying to get a better job, trying to get more money, more security, whatever it is. Or you might fix it with a new relationship, to help you feel better. Try to fix the brokenness that way. Or maybe you even try to become more religious, right? More religious. But whatever we do, we're trying to mitigate the pain. We're trying to reduce the pain of the brokenness. Now, it goes without saying, the brokenness feels terrible, right? And I think as you go through your life, you kind of realize how much this brokenness sort of can hurt. But the pain of brokenness is actually a good thing. It's actually a good thing because it signals to us that we need to make a change, right? It signals to us that we need to make a change in our life. And the change that we need, the change that we really need, doesn't come from within us. And that's really the point, right? It doesn't come from within us. It comes from somewhere else. And God tells us where it comes from, right? God tells us it comes from the good news. It comes from the gospel, right? The gospel means good news. And what the Bible calls the gospel is basically the account of Jesus, God himself, taking on human nature, living a perfect life, and dying on the cross for our sins, right? Living that perfect life. And he was crucified at the end of his life, the Bible says, for the sins of the world. And, it's for every time that we deviate from God's design. Every time I've deviated from his design, every time I will deviate from God's design, that's what Jesus died for. He went to the cross, he performed a miracle, and he took the sins of the world, my sins and yours, on the cross. And he did that to pay the penalty that we deserved, so that we don't have to pay that penalty, and so that we can have a relationship with him. And after he was buried and he was raised from the dead, and he did that God raised him from the dead to prove that he was who he said he was, the Son of God, and that he could do what he said he could do, which was to forgive our sins and to heal the broken parts of our lives. And he says the way to do that is to repent and believe. So, repent means just simply to acknowledge that we've deviated from God's design, right? To change our minds, to turn back towards God, and believe, which means just to trust, right? To rest in the work of Jesus Christ, to trust in the good news, to trust and let the work of Jesus on the cross count for you. And once you do that, the Bible says Jesus comes to you, he begins to heal you, he forgives your sins. And that's what's happening to me. That's what happened to me. I trusted, I began to let Jesus's work count for me. Right? And he began to heal the broken areas of my life. And he's still healing the broken areas of my life. Right? And then the Bible says that once we believe, we have the opportunity to recover and pursue his design. And this is really important for this conversation here, right? And the amazing thing, I think perhaps one of the most important things here is that we're able to do this. We're able to pursue now God's design in our life from wherever we are, right? You don't have to go back and erase your past. I forget who on the panel was mentioning this, but there is a lot of, stuff that each of us carry around from our past, mistakes we've made, and, just things we've done that are, we seem to not be able to let go of. Right. And God's not asking you to change your past. That's the wonderful thing about about the good news, the gospel, right? He's not asking you to change your past. He's forgiving your sins, and he's healing the broken area of your life because of the work he's done on the cross, which allows us to recover God's design in our own lives and pursue God's design in our own lives from where we are. Right? We don't have to go back and change anything. We can begin pursuing him now from where we are today. And so it's this idea of God's design that I'm pursuing with my life. So this is where I'm at. You know what I mean? This is in terms of my priorities, right? This is what I'm pursuing in my life. I'm pursuing God's design. I want to do what he wants me to do in my life. And that comes with good times. It comes with struggles. Right? It doesn't mean that it's all easy, right? I mean, there's still going to be hardship and there's still going to be struggle. but I know what I'm going towards with my life, right? I know where I'm trying to go, right? I know what I'm chasing. It's what he's done for me that drives this thankful response where I just want to serve God. I want to serve him. And I want to seek his design for my life, not my own. Sort of like letting go of what I wanted and really trying to seek what he wants for my life, but also in the world around me. So, the question I want you to think about is this, right? What are you pursuing? What is the end goal, right, of your life? What's the ultimate goal for your life? It goes back to what I asked you to write down earlier. And it ultimately has, I think, a very practical impact on your daily priorities. We're all faced with choices every day, right? Every day we decide what we're going to spend time on and who we're going to spend time with. And I want to give you an action for today, maybe a little homework, but I want you to do two things for me. Okay. I want you to do two things out of this. I want you to first write out your life's purpose. Okay. What is the most important thing you are trying to accomplish with your life? Even if it's different from mine. Look, this is really important. Write out your life's purpose. What are you trying to do? And then I want you to write out your top 3 priorities. This will help you as you're making decisions, big and small, as you're going through your life, you're going through your day, just to make sure you're aligning your daily activities with your purpose. It becomes kind of your North Star. It's like a compass for your life, right? And I'm going to share with you mine as an example, maybe to get you started or just to give you a sense of what I'm thinking about. I saw you saw that slide earlier. I was kind of chasing all these other things as sort of the metric of my life, right? This is like what good looks like for my life. What I've really sort of centered on is that my purpose is to pursue God's design for my life. And it's complicated. It takes wisdom, but that's my ultimate goal. It's like that's where I've sort of centered in on. If God wants it, that's what I want. That's my ideal. And then my priorities out of that, sort of in ranked order here, is serving God first, right? Serving God. Someone that mentioned earlier, the idea of serving can seem kind of, it doesn't seem like totally. It's a little counterculture, right? And it's so true, but I've really gotten to the point where this is the way I want to live my life. I want my life to be about serving, if anything motivates me now, it's like, how can I serve God? Does this serve God first? And then second, serving my family. He gave me a family to support and to take care of. And so I'm going to serve my family. I'm going to lay down my life for my family next. And then third, serving others. And this is how I contextualize my career. For all of you that are kind of embarking on your career, I really encourage you to think through like what it is you're trying to do with your career. Right. And for me, early on, when it was about money, when it was about status, when it was about whatever, trying to get enough money for a vacation or like to travel or whatever, all of that was so empty. Like it left me so empty. And it was just not fulfilling. Where it began to be fulfilling was when I saw it as a way to serve other people. If you can use your work to serve other people, it's like what Dikanna was saying. It's like, if you have a great idea, let that idea be about serving other people. It can still be a great idea, and if people want it, that's great, but let it not be about, this way of just cashing in. Let it be about a way of serving the world or serving other people around you. And then I think that's a better lens, or at least a more fulfilling lens for the work that you're doing. And so these are my priorities, my purpose, my priorities, and it's not perfect. Every day I still have temptations. It's not like every day that I'm not a perfect person. I'm not God. I still have temptations like, man, I would really like some more money. I still feel that. I still feel like I want to travel, whatever. I think those things come in, but when I'm making the decisions, when I'm faced with the big decisions, big and small, I can center in on my purpose. I can remember what I'm trying to do, what my life is really supposed to be about, what I want my life to be about, which is about pursuing God's design, serving God first, then serving my family, then serving others. Are the decisions I'm making lining up with my priorities? And so even if your priorities are different than mine, even if your purpose is different than mine, get it down on paper. I really encourage you to, get it on paper. It'll help you make decisions. It'll help you make the big decisions in your life around career and relationships and everything. And I think it'll help you sort of, sort through those things a little easier, a little better, and really get to where you want to go, right? It's like Alice in Wonderland, right? At least you'll have a destination in mind, and you can set up your decisions so that you're aiming your life towards that goal. And I do want to end, by giving you this encouragement. Don't miss an opportunity to build your life on something that's not temporary. I've gone through it. I'm sure you'll talk with other people who've gone through it. But if you base the metric of good, your life on things that are temporary, things that are fleeting, then you're going to be disappointed because things are temporary, right? They're fleeting. They're going to go away. They're going to disappoint you. And so just contextualize that. Remember that when you're designing your purpose, when you're stating your purpose and your priorities, because I think that's really important. So that's all I had for today. I really appreciated being here with you. You and the team. I know we have a few minutes for questions, but really glad that I got to spend some time sharing this with you guys.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sean, for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Purpose is key, guys. Purpose is key. And when you clock purpose is very, very important as well. Even I think there's a scripture that says, is it serve the Lord in the days of your youth? Something like that. And then there's an interesting translation that now says, be careful how you use your young days, or something like, if you want, enjoy, let me give you the version. If you want to enjoy your youth, and just spend it on yourself, that life is going to, come back at you later. But yeah, definitely starting early is very key. So I'll just give you the rundown, but I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Can we just express some love in the chat? Say thank you to Sean, for sharing those amazing things on Pursuit, and the importance of clocking into this and not building your life upon temporary things, loose foundations, loose things that actually can't sustain you, So thank you so much, Sean, for sharing your story and, pursuing excellence. I tell you, excellence is very, very key. I mean, it's the one thing that when you experience, maybe from a service that's rendered to you or anything, it keeps you coming back because you're like, wow, that was, top class. So before I transition to the next speaker, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. Okay, so I'm just going to have something play in the background, but a 2-minute break. And what I actually want you all to do, okay, if you still have anybody that was not able to make the intro session or whatnot, definitely send them the link so that they can join. These fireworks going on, but as well, the Global Youth Empowerment Summit. Yes, I know a lot of people, a lot of girls, actually, females that wanted to be part of this event. That actually wanted to be part of this event, they were like, oh, yeah. We wanted this. I said, you missed the time of your visitation. It was last week. You should have come for the women's conference. But yeah, So, but the Global Youth Empowerment Summit is when everybody comes together. Everybody's going to be talking. We're going to have awesome speakers, take us through really lifting. I told you the greatest way we're going to impact this generation is by you being successful. Gift the world with the best version of yourself. Gift the world with a successful version of yourself. I mean, success is really, it's first a mentality, and the fruits just come out after it. But we're just going to go on a 2-minute break. I'm going to post the link so you can actually register early, like an early bird, get me, and start flying high. You get me? Feeling my bars now? Yeah. But I'm going to give you the link in the chat, all right, so that you can actually type that into your browser, and it should enable you register for Global Youth Empowerment Summit. It's around December 18th that we're looking at right now. So it's in that time where you're chilling off online as well. So you can definitely join us. Whether it's 5, 10, 15 minutes, you can join us. Or you're hungry, you get the whole package, you know, and who knows, one of you could be a speaker at the summit, you know, maybe give a testimony or something about what you did the last 3 months. Oh yeah, you know what, I was confident enough to start a business, or oh, I actually found God within this time, or oh, I actually, you know, have just clocked into purpose. Oh, I'm actually having a desire for impact, whatever it is, you know, but get yourself in this direction. I'm going to post the link to that in the chat so that you can register within this like 2-minute break, and then we'll be transitioning to the wonderful, 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 maybe I should not disclose the name just yet. See, as I'm teaching you sales, anticipation, suspicion. Everyone's a suspect, you know. You're not too sure who it is, but I'm so excited to be to have the honor to bring in the next speaker. But I want to post that in this short break that we're about to have now. Okay, so you can just register ahead of time so that you don't have to bother with registration or like talk about it again. You're like, nah, I already did that. I mean, head of society, a head of society. But I'm sure you've been impacted. Thank you everybody for staying. So I've posted that. I'm sure it will be, it shows as a link there for you guys. So definitely you can click that. I'll give you just 2 minutes, you know, just record, you know, register for that. And definitely we'll be back and I'll introduce the wonderful, 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 wonderful drum roll. All right. So give you a moment there to just, you know, do your registration there. So make sure you register. If you weren't able to do it now, especially to all the other ones as well, those who couldn't stay till the end, an email will be sent after this so that you can know just exactly how you need to register and stuff. And we'll also convey some more information regarding even connecting further with the Visionary Academy and what we're doing, you know. But I can tell you, you're making progress. So without further ado, I want to introduce the next speaker. Hooray, the next speaker. Okay. So, I mean, I've now known Kyren, I think maybe for a year, but I've just known him because I've experienced the glory of his presence just once. And that was at the past Global Youth Empowerment Summit, and it was lovely. It was lovely. So young, at heart as well as, I mean, and as well as he's young, you know, but like, I'm a kid, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So yes, he's going to be speaking on some amazing stuff, you know. But briefly, Kyren, we are really, really honored to have you today. He's a mentor, dynamic speaker, strategist at Microsoft, and a change agent. He's making it happen. He's the example. I remember he talked to us last year about actually something about financial prudence and showing us we could actually, you know, be on point with our money. So if you're looking for who to advise you on building this bank, I tell you, Kyren is definitely the person to meet. It's such an honor to have you here. Oh my gosh, it looks like you're serving in millions. Take us back.
Man, it is an honor to be here. Those of you who I've had an opportunity to spend some time with before, who have been a part of such an amazing movement, you guys know that I'm really big on energy, and I'm really big on presence, and I'm really, really big on interaction too. I'm a speaker that likes to know that I'm not talking to myself. And so really quickly, I want to make sure that everyone is awake and everyone is alert for what it is that the Lord wants to say during this time of sharing that I have with you all. So I am going to charge, if you are presentable, if you could throw your camera on for me. Again, it's not mandatory, but if you got a t-shirt on, you got whatever, if you can be a little presentable, throw your camera on for me. But for those who don't want to do camera, I just need to know that you're with me. And so if you will, just type something in the chat box really quick as we get started, right? I want to make sure everyone's awake and alert and ready to talk about whatever it is that we're about to get into next. So if I can just get I'm here, or I'm awake, or I'm ready in the chat box. I see some exclamation points in there. Awesome. I see my son's here, my mentee, one of my mentees is here, Brandon. He says, with you. Okay, I see here from Favor. I hope I'm saying that right. If your name is Favor, that is awesome. I love that name. Okay, cool. Well, let's jump in. One, I gotta get, I see I'm active. I love that, I'm active. I gotta get the kind of prerequisites out of the way, right? So I am honored to be here. I'm honored to the visionary of this movement. I'm honored to have this time of sharing with you all. And I'm super excited for what the Lord is about to pour into all of us, okay? And so I need everybody really quickly to take a deep breath, right? Because it's about to get real. You guys know we're gonna have a real conversation. So deep breath in really quick, deep breath out. It's gonna be okay. All right, we're gonna start this session off with an affirmation. Okay, we're gonna start this session off with an affirmation because I believe that I am talking to very powerful men today. And that everybody under the sound of my voice is a son. Everybody out of the sound of my voice has a purpose. And everybody under the sound of my voice has power, right, to change the trajectory of what the future of the world is going to look like. And whatever it is that you're passionate about, right? Whatever it is that the Lord has created you to do, whatever your function is in the earth, that's who I'm talking to today. And so really quickly, if you could just type in the chat box. Also, feel free to come off of mute for this portion here. If everybody could just start off by saying this: I am enough. And I'm going to talk to you about why we're saying that today. I am enough. Okay. All right, we're about to dive into this thing. You guys are like, why are we typing I am enough in the chat box? What is he about to talk about? Right, you might have already saw what this session is called, right? We're going to talk about depth to imposter syndrome, right? And honoring your difference. But in order to honor your difference, in order to tap into that power, that authority, that purpose that I just talked to you about, one of the things that a lot of us have to overcome first and come into grips with is, one, the fact that we are enough. And one of the main things that the enemy tries to put against us to try to convince us of otherwise is that we're not enough. And that often shows up in the form of what we call imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. What is that? Okay, so for those of you who are taking notes, I'm going to add this to: leaders are readers and leaders take notes. And so if it is that you want to tap into your power, your authority, your God-given talent, your God-given purpose, it is my expectation that everyone here is committed to taking notes during this time of sharing so that you can kind of get this in your heart so that after we leave this session today, not only can it register with you, not only will you have these things to refer back to as a tool and as a weapon against this thing, but also so that you can teach other people that you can come into contact with. Hey, that thing that you're experiencing, I actually got some notes on how you can get through that. So let's jump into it. You guys ready? I know that's a lot. Are you guys ready to do the work today? I'm gonna wait. I'm not moving until I see I'm ready.
We ready.
Okay, I see we ready there. I see we ready in the chat. I need at least one more. 3 is a great number. I like the number 3. I got 2 so far. I need one more. We ready before we move forward because I want to make sure that everybody gets this information. Perfect. There it is. Okay, let's talk about imposter syndrome. All right. Imposter syndrome can be defined as a collection of feelings of inadequacy, right? This is why we just said I am enough, that persists despite of evident success, right? Imposters suffer from chronic self-doubt and a sense of intellectual fraudulence, right? I feel like I'm a fraud. And that sometimes override any feelings of success or external proof of competence. How does that show up? This is what it looks like in the African-American community. In the African-American community, or in the people of color community, if you will, the way that imposter syndrome can show up is someone giving you a compliment, right? Oh man, I love your kicks. I love your outfit. right? And you're like, oh, no, man, it's just something like, or it's just little, or no, man, I'm trying to get like you. Wait a minute. Hold on. You guys didn't know that's a thing, right? You got to start asking yourself, why is it so hard for me to receive compliments if they are indeed true? What about me feels like I don't qualify for the affirmation that this person is giving me? And so that leads me to my first notation, if you will, the first thing that I want you to know about imposter syndrome or write down. And the first thing that you need to know to overcome this thing called imposter syndrome is you need to know the signs, okay? We often overlook the signs of imposter syndrome that come up in our day-to-day lives. But however, recognizing these signs is actually the first step in overcoming them. And so I'm going to list some things out right here. And if any of these apply to you, I just want you to type in the chat box really quick. That's me. All right. So first, one of these signs can be this. You might suffer from imposter syndrome if you feel like you got lucky when you actually prepared well and worked hard. All right. When you find it hard to accept praise or compliments, if you're one of those people like, oh man, I really like your fit, or man, you did really good. And your first response is, nah, man, you got it. Or nah, man, I'm just trying to get like you. Or, oh, this is just something like, or, oh, something is happening in there where it's hard for you to accept that praise. Another sign that you might be dealing with imposter syndrome is if you apologize for yourself. And this is a lot, I know a lot of people that deal with this one, when you actually didn't do anything wrong. When you actually didn't do anything wrong. What does that look like? Somebody calls you, you genuinely missed a call, and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Why are you sorry? You're actually busy. Why are you apologizing? Another sign could be if you hold yourself, and I'm talking to all my perfectionists tonight, to an incredibly high standard, sometimes an impossible standard, but you hold yourself to it anyway. You've made this idea up in your mind of what success looks like. And because you're not doing exactly what you've come up with, or it doesn't look exactly how you've dreamed of it, you think that you're not successful. Another sign could be that you find the fear of failure paralyzing. Now, this is for, I feel this in the Holy Ghost. This is for a lot of you guys under the sound of my voice today. A lot of you have dreams. A lot of you have visions, all of these great ideas that you could be doing today. I mean, ideas to start your YouTube channel, to start your vlog, to get more active on Instagram and social media, to apply for an internship, to apply for a college, to apply for a scholarship, to start your sneaker business, to make the singing video, to start showcasing your art more, to start pursuing acting, whatever that is for you, because you're so afraid of not measuring up, because you have this fear of, oh, if I don't have everything that I think that I need together to get started, the fear of not being successful has you not doing the very thing that you could be doing today. Is this resonating with you all so far? Again, I like to know that people are talking to me and that I'm not talking to myself. So just drop something in the chat. Two more things. You also avoid expressing confidence. Now I'm talking about myself in this one, because you have this fear that people will think that you're arrogant, or that you're being cocky. So you suffocate, you dim down your own confidence, your own gifting, your own talent, because you don't want to offend the people in your social group, your friends, with your greatness. That's another problem we'll talk about another day. But I'm going to just take a pivot right here because I can. If you have to suffocate, or if you have to dim down any aspect of your personality for the comfortability of the people that are around you, whether it be your friends and your family, don't make your people. But we're still talking about imposter syndrome today. I just wanted to add that right there. That was for somebody. That was for free. All right. And last thing, if you are convinced that you are not enough, You need to pay attention to your language choices, both when you're talking to other people and when you're talking to yourself about yourself, especially when it comes to talking about your work, the things that you're working on, your accomplishments, your projects, and other things of that nature. If it is that you find your own success or the praise or compliments others give you uncomfortable, you need to do some thinking about where those type of thoughts are coming from and what it means in your life. Why are you uncomfortable when people recognize when you've done something well? Who taught you that when you've done something well, that you should feel some type of uncomfortability or fear or not enoughness about the thing that you put the work in? I want you to write that down and start thinking about that. Step 2, know that you're not alone, okay? When you have imposter syndrome, let me tell y'all what the enemy do. He's a dummy. We have real talks here. The devil is dumb. He's a liar, right? We all know that. But one of the things that he likes to do is he tries to convince us that we are alone in the things that we are dealing with. And so the second thing that I want you to write down is that you need to know that you're not alone, right? When dealing with imposter syndrome, some of the most important encouragement comes from realizing how many extremely successful people, both male and female, have built amazing careers and amazing lives, even while they themselves are battling and wrestling against imposter syndrome, against feeling that they're not enough. I remember, I think this was about a year and a half ago, the president of Microsoft at the time, her name's Kate Johnson, was doing a speaking session, and she was talking about how no matter how successful you are, no matter what level of success that you achieve, what milestones, how much money you make, how many properties you buy, whatever the title ends up being, that at some point, because we're human, there's a voice contending against us being comfortable and what it is that we have worked for. And it never really goes away. But what happens is that as we grow more mature and as we face it and try not to do what a lot of us do as men and pretend that it's not happening, right? Where people ask us, are you good, bro? Are you okay? And what do we all, I'm straight, I'm good, I'm cool, and everything's fine. But in the middle of the night when you're by yourself, you're crying. Yeah, it's so interesting to me, the tactics that the enemy tries to use to get us out of position from being not who we're becoming, but who we already are. And so the second thing, again, just reinforcing this, is that you need to know that you're not alone. Start being more transparent, start being more open and having conversations with the people that you trust. And I guarantee you what you'll learn and what you'll find out is that there are other people dealing with this same thing, and there's strength in numbers, okay? Third thing that I want you to write down is that I want you to start learning and distinguishing the difference between humility and fear, right? There's taking humility, right? Being humble in your hard work and accomplishments. And then there's also feeling overcome with fear because of them. Now, that might sound strange, but it's a real thing. Sometimes when you are simply good at something, it can cause you to discount its value. I am a singer. And for the longest, I serve as a worship leader at my church here, Truth City. I've been singing for forever, but I remember, and even sometimes today, I'll slip into it. People will be like, "Oh, like you did such an amazing job. You did such an amazing job. We love your voice." I'm like, "Oh, it's all right. Or I did all right." Why am I discounting what God has given me as a natural talent and a natural gift? It comes, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm being humble, but what's really happening is it's fear. It's fear. But I want to leave you guys with this quote from Carl Richards that says, after you spend a lot of time fine-tuning your ability, your gift, whatever that is for you, I mean, you put in the work. Isn't it sort of the point for that skill, for that gift to look and feel natural and easy, right? And rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, but I'm speaking for myself, I'm a Kobe fan. Dead or alive, I love Kobe, right? Kobe spent a lot of time in the gym. I mean, lots of hours. And pick your favorite basketball player or whatever you like, whatever sport, whatever vocation, whatever talent it is. Those people spend a lot of time working on what they work on, so that by the time we see them doing the thing, it should be an ease to it because you spent so much time working on it. But don't let imposter syndrome convince you to be afraid about people thinking that you're prideful or arrogant when you've actually put in the work to do the thing. Again, somebody type in the chat box, I'm enough. All right, it all boils down really to feeling like you're unworthy, right? Seth Godin put it this way: when you feel unworthy, any kind response, any positive feedback, any reward or compliment from a person feels like a trick, like a scam, or the luck of the draw, what we here call in the States cap. It feels like it's cap, they capping. Somebody gives you a compliment, I see my brother laughing there, and you walk away like, man, they ain't mean that, that's cap. That's how we say it in the States. I don't know how y'all say it in the UK, but in the States right now, everybody's saying that's cap, right? They didn't mean that. They gave me a compliment. They liked my post on Instagram. They commented the fire emojis. They said I had the drip, the sweat, whatever we're saying. That's cap. Or fake love, if you will. Shout out to Drake. A lot of that is because you feel unworthy of the compliment, and we're projecting that, and that's not a real thing. But it is possible to feel worthy without feeling entitled, and overcoming imposter syndrome is all about finding a healthy balance between the two. Humility and worthiness have nothing all to do with defending yourself or defending your territory or defending your gifting. We don't have to feel like a fraud to also be gracious at what it is that the Lord has gifted us with, and being open and humble at the same time. We're still tracking. You guys tracking with me? Y'all still with me? I know this a lot, and this is a deep conversation. Y'all probably didn't expect to run into this morning or afternoon, depending on what time it is for you. Next thing, and I'm almost wrapping here, that you need to do if you want to really tap into the power and the authority of your gifting and your talent, is you have to let go of your inner perfectionist. Now, I know everybody wants the thing to be perfect. I know you want it to look exactly like what you imagine it to look like in your head, but perfectionism, while it's helpful in certain contexts, can actually be an extreme major roadblock for productivity. It turns out it can be a major roadblock for overcoming imposter syndrome as well. Many people who suffer from this thing that we're talking about today, imposter syndrome, are actually high achievers, i.e. everyone under the sound of my voice today. These people like you and I, right, we are setting extremely high standards for ourselves, and we're committed to doing our best into being the best. But perfectionism only feeds into your imposter syndrome. When you feel like a fraud, it's usually because you're comparing yourself to some perfect outcome that's either impossible or unrealistic. Something that you have looked at somebody else's success as achieving. You're scrolling on Instagram, you're watching YouTube video, who was ever in this industry that you aspire to, you are examining their life and you're like, okay, I know that the Lord has called me to do something similar, so I should be landing somewhere, or should be looking at least something similar like that. And when you don't do that, or when it doesn't look like that or feel like that, you think that it's not good. You have to kill that inner perfectionist. Not only can no one do anything perfectly, but holding yourself to that standard can actually be super counterproductive. A lot of you guys haven't even started on the things that you know in your heart you're supposed to be doing. You know you have the gifting, you know you have the talent for it, you know this is what your purpose and your passion is, but you haven't even started because you're too busy comparing yourself and your gift and your talent and your timeline and your journey to someone else's. At some point, you have to take a step back and ask yourself, when is good enough good enough? Okay? When is good enough for me? The bottom line is, while you're striving for perfection, is notable, it's usually not realistic. And again, it's super counterproductive and only will make you feel even more like a fraud. And the reason that you feel like a fraud is because you are looking at someone else's gifting, talent, journey, and trying to put it on, and it doesn't belong to you. So you feel like a fraud because you can't recognize yourself, because you're wearing so many things that you've observed to be the thing, or the way that this should be done, or I should have achieved this milestone and then this milestone, and then by this age I should have already done this. You feel like an imposter, like a fraud, because you're wearing a lot of journeys, a lot of skills, in ways that don't belong to you. So I challenge you to do the work, commit to doing the work today, to take off those things and really start living in your most true, authentic self. Next step, and we're almost done here, right? Step 5, be kind to yourself. And I'm going to say it again, because as men, we fail at this tremendously. We think that we have to be, man, I feel the glory. We feel like we have to be everybody's superhero because everyone around us counts on us to be okay all the time. Like some of you under the sound of my voice are still trying to be everybody in your family's champion. They come to you anytime there's a problem, and what's confusing to us and what's confusing to you is you're the younger one. You should be going to them for advice, but everybody's coming to you and putting their stuff on you. Everybody's looking up to you to be strong at all the time, to be level-headed all the time, to have it all together all the time. As men, society has taught us that, but we're getting out of that today. Yes. If you all are tracking with me, let me just get a yes in the chat box. So again, be kind to yourself. Take the pressure off yourself and stop trying to be the expert on day one. Imposter syndrome often manifests itself as a voice in our heads, right? Beating us up with negative messages like you're not smart enough, you're a fraud. Are they really going to support you? Do they really rock with you? Are they going to buy your product? Are they going to watch your video? Are they going to show up to your game? All of these thoughts on the inside of your head, this negative self-talk, it's a bad habit, and it can heavily influence and stress your anxiety levels. Some of you aren't sleeping. It's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and you wondering why you still up, and you just say, I don't know, I'm always up. No, you don't know that subconsciously you're experiencing anxiety because your subconscious is eating the poison of the words of the negative talk that's happening in your mind about yourself to yourself. That's why you're up. That's why you're up. But being kind to yourself simply means changing the way that you think about yourself, that you talk to yourself about yourself in your head, and by practicing positive self-talk. Not only can it help you become less stressed and anxious, but it can also help you build the courage to do the things that'll bring you greater rewards and closer to your purpose and your God-given talent and gifting, the very thing that you're dreaming about and seeing, okay? First thing that I want you guys to do is pay attention to that conversation in your head. If you really think about it, whenever you start feeling down or discouraged, it's because there's stuff going on in here. And it starts with questions, right? All these questions. Am I really going to pass this test? When you know you study. Does my father really love me? Does my mother really believe in me? Do my friends really have my back? Am I really as gifted as I think I am? Am I really as talented as they say I am? And because it's happening in your head invisibly, you don't know that you're entertaining conversations with things that are counter what the Lord has already affirmed and said about you. These questions are happening, trying to convince you very opposite of what you know, right? That you are fearfully and wonderfully designed, all that stuff, right? So again, be kind to yourselves, pay attention to the conversation that's going on in your head. And one thing that I always teach my mentees in King's Academy, right? We do a lot of affirmations, kind of like how we did at the top of this call. I am enough. It seems silly, right? Why am I saying this sentence? Why am I looking in the mirror saying this? Why am I typing this? But it really helps to combat that negative self-talk, okay? So I challenge you guys and I charge you all today, find some kind of way to start incorporating self-affirmations into your day-to-day life. Start your day off, wake up in the morning and find something nice to say about yourself. And even if you don't 100% believe it, say it until you do, okay? Can we commit to that? I believe by faith we can. I see a couple of head nods. I know this is a lot. Y'all digesting like, whoa, we did not come here for this today. We did not know we was going to get into all of this today. That's okay. We're almost done here, right? 2, 3 more points, and I'll breeze through these, and we're going to pray because I believe in the power of prayer. Y'all know how I do. If you've never been here before, it's a great day to learn today. Start tracking your success, right? A lot of times we feel defeated because we feel like we're not doing enough. And that's because we're overlooking all the little wins that we had, that we've accomplished, that we've achieved, because we're so focused on getting the big win, the big thing that we see, the big thing, the big milestone, the big goal for our lives. But I promise you, if you start treasuring the little things that you do, the little progress that you made, the fact that, let's say you want to start a business, if you come up with your business name and what your business mission statement is, that's a win. Don't wait to celebrate or don't wait to feel like accomplished until the business has got all the things. If you start celebrating the little, if you pass a test, if you pass your quiz, if you try to record the video, if you try to make the Instagram reel, because I know we're in the age of the social media influencers, right? Instagram is paying people now to do the things. Yes. Whatever it is for you, celebrate the little wins and the little successes and start tracking those, and you'll start to feel better about where you are. And it will also help combat against some of that self-doubt. 7th thing, get you a mentor. Shameless plug. I'm a mentor. I'm a product of the power of mentorship. I had men and women in my life who believed in me on the days that I didn't. Now, I had a lot of innate self-confidence and courage, but that could only carry me so far. There were days, and there are still days, where I don't always believe in myself. And I have achieved a great amount of success at the age of 25, but none of that means nothing when the enemy is trying to convince you that you're not enough. When you start entertaining that conversation and it's in the middle of the night and you starting to have those thoughts, y'all know what I'm talking about. We have real talk here, right? It's so helpful to have a person who can see you when you cannot see you in your life, a person who can identify giftings and talents that you don't even know that you have. And I'm telling you, there is power in having mentorship. My belief is that everyone who is humble enough to submit themselves to a mentor, to submit themselves to the teaching and the wisdom of another person, my belief is that you'll get further faster, because you'll get to stand on all of their life experiences and you'll never have to go through them yourself. But you have to be humble enough to say, I need help, and the help is not inside of me, but I'm willing to be open to being poured into by someone who might have experience that I don't have. Okay. Last one, another thing. I like that all these yeses are still right here in the chat. because my 8th and final point is that you all need to start saying yes to new opportunities. That fear keeping you from doing stuff, right? Because some of y'all got it. You have the gift, you have the talent, like you know that you can do it, and people give you an opportunity, and you're like, oh, I'll think about it. And you know in your heart, you're not going to think about it. You're not doing it. Somebody invites you somewhere. Someone extends an opportunity. But because you don't think that you have everything that you need, you're saying no. You need to start saying yes. I am a speaker, right? That's how I'm here before you guys today. But before I knew I was a speaker, I knew I had the gifting to be able to stand before people and to talk, right? And keep them engaged. But people used to, when I was in middle school, high school, hey, we want you to lead the pep rally, because I was so afraid of being in front of all those people and what are they going to think about me? I would say no. And I messed around and said yes one time. I was just like, I'm just going, whatever happens, you know, if they think I'm horrible, I'm just going to say yes. If they think I'm horrible, then I'll just live with that. But I challenged myself to be brave, to jump out there, to say yes to a new opportunity. And 6, 7, 8 years later, now I'm a public speaker. Now Microsoft Corporation, which is the company that I work for, asked me to host things that corporate vice presidents. I've been on stages with executive vice presidents of Microsoft Corporation. But that didn't start today. It started when I was in middle school, changing my language to no, from being afraid to trying something new that I actually knew I could do, to being brave and praying for the courage to say yes. And now, years and years later, that one yes has opened so many doors of opportunities and literally has propelled with great momentum my life success. So I know that's a lot. Let me see what time it is. It's 3:15. I still got like 10 minutes, I think. Is that right? Keep me honest here. Cool. That's my last point. I know this was a lot. That was really heavy. But really quickly, because I really believe in the power of prayer, I'm going to activate. Somebody said deep. Listen, it's okay. I live this life. I believe in the power of prayer. I'm going to activate you guys tonight. I believe in the power of impartation. And I believe that as a result of you all being a part of this conversation, that as of today, you will not go another day not at least trying. That as of today, the next time someone presents an opportunity to you, for you to challenge yourself, for you to stretch yourself, for you to pursue the next opportunity, that as of today, if you didn't have it when you came today, you are going to leave with it today. You will have the supernatural courage to pursue your purpose. Again, because the truth is, the fact of the matter is, right at the top of this, we started with an affirmation. We're going to end with that same affirmation. But here and today, you are enough, and you have every single thing that you will ever need here and now today to get started. So I am going to pray, and then I'm going to pass this mic, maybe take a couple of questions, and we'll do it like that. So really quickly, if you will, bow your head, close your eyes. Father God, in the name of Jesus, I thank you that you are the author and the finisher. And I thank you that even before the foundations of the earth, that you gave us purpose, that you gave us power, and that you gave us identity. So we don't even have to wonder who we are. We don't even have to wonder what it is that you want us to do, but you have given us language. Father, I thank you today that you, when you say in your word that you leave the 99 to come and see about the one, that it is sessions like this here and now today where that scripture manifests itself. It is days like today where you prove to your sons, I see you. I feel that very strongly, that a lot of people on this call feel overlooked. And a lot of you aren't doing it because you feel like people won't appreciate it, or you feel like the people who are responsible for you are going to overlook or discount the fact that you did what you were supposed to do. But we come against that very strongly today in the sovereign name of Jesus. I come against the spirit of fear, doubt, anxiety, feeling this spirit of inferiority. It comes off of you today, and this depression thing stops. We are God's men, and we won't be bullied. And so these nights of you crying secretly to yourself, but telling people around you that you're fine, it's coming to a close. God, now I ask that you send your spirit of truth and your spirit of affirmation and your spirit of comfort to affirm your sons, and even now stir the gifts on the inside of them and infuse them with a supernatural courage to pursue what it is that you have already shown them, what it is that you have already revealed to them in their dreams, in their vision, the thing that they can feel on the inside. I'm supposed to be doing more. God, I thank you that as a result of being a part of this conversation, that they will have the power and the grace to do exactly what it is that you've created them to do, relentlessly, without fear, and without having to feel like they have to dim their light so that the people around them, friend or family, having to make them feel comfortable. We are not here to make people feel comfortable. We are here to serve our mission and assignment that you placed in us when you said in your word, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you and I approved of you. God, we already have your approval. And so it's our declarations as your son today that we do not need the approval of man, and that we will start to appreciate and we will start to honor the very thing that you have decided about us that makes us different. No more will we try to make ourselves fit in. We're not called to fit in. But if you're a leader under the sound of my voice, I want to say to you, you will never fit in, because you were called to lead. Leaders lead from the front. You're not going to fit in because you're supposed to be set apart. That's what the Lord has decided. And so, God, I thank you today that you've revealed that truth. God, I seal this word with your authority today. And I thank you for this time of sharing. And I thank you that because these men are here, that their children's will never have to wrestle against the giants that they are up against today, because they are committed to doing the work so that they can leave behind a legacy where their kids will be free to pursue their passion and their purpose without having to operate in fear and feeling less than. It's in your sovereign name that we pray. Amen. Amen. Okay, I think I have a time for about 2 questions. And then I'm going to have my son, my mentee, speak about King's Academy, and then I'll surrender the mic back. Do we have any questions? I know we covered a lot today, but I'll take any questions that are out there. And another thing I'm going to say, as men, all of you are called to lead, and leaders use their voice. So my expectation is that I will have at least 2 questions, because we're men. And one of our greatest powers and where our authority lives is in the fact that we have power when we speak. And so I'll pause there to see if there's any questions out there. Also, I see some of my brothers are here too. Hey, Kevron. Hey, Fred. He's like, I'm looking forward to hearing about the Academy. Absolutely. If there are no questions, I'm gonna have my son, my mentee, Brandon.
Hi, I've got a question, please.
Yes. Okay. Really quickly, Emmanuel. So also another thing I want to teach you guys as men, whenever we speak for the first time to anyone, we introduce ourselves. So really quickly, just give me your name and where you are, and then give me your question. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So my name is Emmanuel. I'm currently at University of Central Lancashire. My friend Otokini invited me. And I didn't actually join at first, just 'cause I was out and stuff. And she made it very clear that she was disappointed that I didn't join. And I thought, what, she's a sister in Christ, and she's been honest about how she feels. And I felt convicted because of that. So I said, I'm really sorry that I didn't join this. And just for the sake of respect, we're family in Christ. If another opportunity comes up, then I'm gonna let me actually show my face.
Yeah.
So I said, if another opportunity comes up, then I will try to join. So she said it's still on, so I can join. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll join then. As I've only joined for a few minutes, and you were saying a few things about, if we feel like God is calling us to do something, but if people feel like we're responsible to, we feel like maybe they're gonna sort of accept us or something. My question is basically a bit of a personal one. I feel like God is calling me to move with my partner right now, and
say that one more time. I want to make sure that I hear you. So say that one more time. Speak up for me.
Sorry, I said I feel like God is calling me to move in with my partner, and that's very, very strong. I've had a lot of advice on it, but that comes with obviously marriage, and I'm still in education right now, but I feel like it's what God wants me to do because I've got a child with her. And that's gonna come with me talking to my dad, and he's very, very strict. So this has been very, very heavy on my heart. But I've made a decision that I'm gonna talk to him, and I don't know sort of how it's gonna go, but it's been heavy on my heart. When you were praying, I felt like some of the things you were praying about, some of the things you said you felt were directed towards me. So I just wanted to share that sort of, if you have any advice for me. I'm sorry, being a bit vulnerable to share it, but I do want to be humble as well to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Emmanuel. Really quick, I want to check something because I'm almost certain. Yeah. So here's the thing. I have the word of the Lord for you, Emmanuel. It's really simple. Do you know what your name means?
Yeah, God with me.
Okay. Yeah. So, Emmanuel, your name, that's so good to me. Bless God. God is with you, sir. And another thing that I know about you is that you hear the Lord. So if you know that this is what the Lord is saying to you, one thing as men that we need to do a better job at is obeying the Lord, irregardless of how uncomfortable it is, regardless of how other people are going to think about it, how you're going to feel about it, which is why I'm really praying for you all so that the Lord gives you guys supernatural courage to do what it is that because sometimes the thing that he asks us to do, it will upset people. And we love these people and we appreciate and honor the opinions of these people. But if it is, Emmanuel, that this is what the Lord is saying, you have to obey him relentlessly, and you have to trust that he'll take care of the rest. So if I were you, here's my advice. What I would do is I would ask the Lord for a very clear sign, right? It is not a prideful thing to ask the Lord for a clear sign. If this is what the prayer looks like, sir, if this is what you want me to do, can you make it really clear for me? There's a story in the Bible about a man who the Lord asked him to do something, and he was like, I just want to be sure. And so I'm gonna put this mat outside, and if you could just make it rain, but if I come outside, the ground around the mat is wet, but the mat is dry, then I'll know this is you. All right, boom. Night happened, morning happened. He went outside. The ground was wet, the mat was dry. He was like, okay, this was a great sign. If we could do this again, I know I just asked for this sign, but this time I'm gonna put the mat outside. If you can make it rain, but in the morning, the mat be wet, but the ground around it be dry, then I'll know that's you, right? So the Lord honored that. Long story short, he wakes up and that's what he saw in the morning. As sons, because that is who we are to Christ, we have the ability to get clarity from our Father. Now, the spirit of religion has taught us that it's rude to ask God questions. I don't know who came up with that. It's a lie. But why should we be trying to figure out what it is that he wants to say or he wants us to do? Why are we trying to figure it out ourselves when we can just ask? right? And if you're unsure, you can ask him for a clear sign and for clarity. But Emmanuel, I have full confidence that you are not going to make the wrong decision. And if you ever need comfort, refer to your name, because your parents didn't give you that name. That is the name that the Lord gave you. Your name is Emmanuel, so that no matter what you go through, because you have a large assignment in the earth, that you always remember God is with you. Okay? And so I hope that helps you out, man. I think I got time for one more question.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if there's not one more, I'll have my mentee talk about King's Academy, and then I'll leave my social media information so you guys can get in touch with me if you guys want to be a part of that program, which is amazing, near and dear to my heart. So okay, cool. Let's shift into that. Brandon, you here, buddy?
Yes, I am. And my name's Brandon.
Yeah, this is Brandon May. This is one of my mentees who I refer to as my son because he literally has my DNA. So that's Brandon there. He's a graduate of Bowie State University. He's starting his career in January, so he got a job, but he just got a new offer. I think he just told me right before we got on this today. So we're going to see where he actually ends up. But he is a part of my mentorship organization called King's Academy. And so Brandon, really, just briefly share about what it is that we do in King's Academy and what happens.
Okay. Well, I see my man Fred is in here. It's good to see you, Fred. Yeah, I'm not going to talk for too long, but yeah, Kyren did a great job on his session about imposter syndrome. And I wanted to talk about King's Academy because he does this all the time. Like this session today that you guys just experienced is not his first time doing this. And it's definitely not his only time doing this. He'll be doing this for years to come. And I would definitely say appreciate him while he's here, because sessions like these, you should not take for granted. I hope you guys did take notes on the imposter syndrome. When I first experienced something about this, it changed my life and changed my way of thinking. So with King's Academy, it's completely, well, not completely free. And the first year, it actually was free for me. But after this, I don't think it will be free. I'm not sure on the details about what it might cost you. It's not expensive at all. But King's Academy is weekly sessions of this. And it's honestly amazing because we have a group chat where we're still able to build personal relationships as well. It's not all just business. It's not all just mentorship. We have built personal relationships, and I've gotten to know people on a first name basis in the academy. And it's honestly been really fun. Like Kyren said, I'm a graduate of Bowie State, and he's helped with resume building, workshops, and finding opportunities for your career, whatever you're interested in, whether that's a 9-to-5 or whether it's starting your own art business or anything that you want to do in life. Kyren is a great way for you to get there, and King's Academy is definitely a great way for you to be able to network. And I can definitely speak for America. I don't know where you guys are from. I didn't really get to hear where you guys are from. I know this is an international session, but Bowie State University is in Maryland. And I met Kyren in Maryland. He's from Jackson State University in Mississippi. So that just goes to show how King's Academy can reach across states, colleges, universities, just to be able to change your life. And I think it'll really benefit you if you are interested in it. I can answer any questions that you guys may have, but yeah, I would definitely say the King's Academy is something that you guys should look into.
Absolutely, 100%. Thank you so much, Brandon. I love you, man. But yeah, everything that Brandon said, I don't have to add anything outside of that. King's Academy is something that the Lord put on my heart a couple of years ago. I've been mentoring since I was in middle school, which doesn't make sense because I feel like I didn't know anything. But when the Lord has decided something, it's what we call the anointing. You have an anointing to do it, and it's irrespective of how old you are. You were born with it. And so I've committed my life to pouring into young men for the purpose of helping them to get further faster through the power of mentorship. And so that's what we do at King's Academy. I'm going to put my Instagram name into the chat. And if you are interested in being a part of King's Academy, learning more about King's Academy, just shoot me a direct message on Instagram, and then I'll talk to you about how you can get an application and get involved in things of that nature. My inaugural class just graduated. And so now they're about to get ready to start training to become mentors, right? So you'll go through mentee, you'll be a mentee, and then you'll go through like the sessions and the things that we talk about. And then you'll have an opportunity, if you want to be trained on how to be a mentor. And then you'll get to help mentor the next group of men that come. But it's a really amazing and precious space. So I put my Instagram handle in the chat there. And I think that's everything that I have. So I'm gonna surrender the mic back over. It was such an honor and a privilege to share with you guys today.
Okay. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Kyren. I appreciate you so much. And I always say, I mean, after Kyren speaks, you know, there's such a, like I said, a bliss. Did you guys feel the glory now? Yeah. Those that haven't expressed it. Yeah. You know,
be the glory, man.
It's so hard to talk about life success without bringing God in. Like it's like you just you know, it's just the kind of thing, you know, it's so hard. And Karen has a way of just, you know, stirring up really your connection with God. And you just start to see it's like you can't do without him. You can't do without him.
Yeah.
In your life, and he's already raising amazing people. You know, I was just enjoying the American accent, you know what I mean, because I'm from Atlanta.
Yeah, he's like, you know what I mean.
I love that. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, you know, to have sessions like this, you know, and the numbers are so impressive, you know, as we're moving. And I know that this is only going to get bigger and bigger because, like I said, there's a lot of people, especially young people, that are, you know, like just out doing unethical things, you know, seeking money in different ways, this vague idea of success that's all about money. And so they go after it in crazy ways. The other day, I was just thinking about how when someone dies, they're not coming back. Like I was just on that for a good, how long? Because I was reflecting and I was like, why live that kind of life? You know, what's the point? You live a life and then if you actually die without maybe discovering Jesus, without really committing your life to Christ, like, was it really worth it? Whatever you enjoyed, whatever you went through, you know, because when somebody goes, they're gone. They're gone. And it made me realize the sanctity of life and how that you really have to be grateful that you actually live. Because I mean, think back to anybody, whether it's someone close to you or somebody you revered, honored, they're gone. Like gone. Like it's no second. It's like, you know. So you really only live once. It's sad that our generation, sometimes I don't say YOLO, it means go out, party, get your head messed up. Everything YOLO is in the negative side. Nobody's thinking, oh, let me fulfill my purpose. Like, let me actually something. Let me actually make impact with my life. Rarely people are thinking like that, you know. And that's why we have initiatives like this, you know, King's Academy, the Visionary Academy, all of this, because we need. Ms. Susan always highlights that there's not that many people reaching out to the young people. You know, you would assume that, oh, everything is happening, but no, people need help. And let me tell you, with all the things you've heard, there's a spot for you. Believe me that everybody has their own like crowd congregation. You know, if we're going to go into the Bible now, it says about John the Baptist that people rejoiced in his light. There's people to rejoice in your light, right? There's people in your circle that have that, I mean, may only change by hearing your own words. Karen talked about speaking, that we need to speak. We have a voice, authority. Like, it's something you have to wake up to and really start exercising. Really start exercising. I'm just like so full of it, like, wow, he really shook the room.
Oh man.
Really did. It's an amazing one to realize. So I mean, he's communicated about, you know, King's Academy. Definitely get connected with that as well. Within the Visionary Academy as well, within this section, we're going to be sharing out as well an amazing opportunity, you know, on this. But I meant to first speak just a bit on mentorship. And that's why as soon as Kyren mentioned, I was like, yeah, connects my story. Yeah, mentorship is so key. And it actually brought to mind, I once did an IG live series on the weight of prophecy. Okay, the weight of prophecy. Some very interesting things I talked about there. But I also wrote benefits of having a father. You know, Kyren has been saying, my son is here, like benefits of having a father. Benefits of having a father. And I just thought read those out. Like I just 5 very, very simple things. The first one was direction. Direction for sure. Like, where are we going? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? The next one was a check on your life. Are you really heading in the right direction? One thing that has brought me to where I am right now, and I'll talk a bit about me, but one thing that's brought me, I'm surrounded by so many people, it's crazy. God, I believe it's actually a grace to be surrounded by the right people, people that are like, yeah, man, where are you going? What's the next move? How are you thinking? Oh, when's the next book coming? Like, they're always pushing you in that direction, So direction, a check on your life, a comfort in your life, somebody you can confide in and be like, hey, this is what I'm going through. Share it with someone. Are you genuinely happy? What would you like? I always say that you can't take people where you've never been. You can't give what you don't have, but you can find somebody that has that thing that you desire, somebody that is walking in that light, and they'll take you there. So there's direction, a check, a comfort, and then 4, less mistakes. Less mistakes. Mistakes have a way of like eating into your time. You understand? And there are what we call king size errors that really have this effect on you. But it really doesn't matter. You can still recover from those. See, but you make less mistakes because you're well guided. You're well guided. Then 5, speed of succession. Last year I said something during Global Youth Empowerment Summit. I said the world is getting very old, or the world is very old. How many of you know? It's very, very old. There's nothing we've not seen. 8-year-old skateboarder, 7-year-old musician, like we've seen it all. So the point is, if you're really going to stand out, if you're really going to, the Visionary Academy is very, very global, all about global things. If you're really going to stand out, it's got to be something that either we've never seen before or something really unique. So really your personal difference, like what do you bring to the scene, having your own voice. But mentorship is so key. It's so key. And, I gave the instance of my mentor that, told me about the student situation and different things. But the point is, mentorship is key because honestly, it's the speed of succession. Speed of succession. Like you do things so much quicker because you're not trying to guess. Somebody told me that there's 2 approaches to life, right? You either do trial and error, all right, or you just take someone else's blueprint and just know how to do it yourself. And that's what mentorship helps you do. Somebody has already discovered this thing. Somebody has delved deeper into this. Start from their knowledge so that you actually make groundbreaking discoveries, past where they went, than that you started from ground, 0, and you're trying to find some way to get in there. So within that, the Visionary Academy really wants to reach out and help that need. Particularly, you're going to receive an email if you registered for this, which is why even if you finish that as well, I think find a way to register so that they can send you that email. But they'll send you an email regarding, of course, registering for Global Youth Empowerment Summit this December. And then they'll also send you an email regarding what's it called? Opportunity, amazing opportunity, as well as an interesting genius assessment that we're going to do there. I remember when it comes to all these assessments, they tell you more about who you are and stuff like that. I remember one assessment I'll never forget was about whether you're visionary, is it visual, something like that, visionary, auditory, or kinesthetic, right? Those are important things to know about yourself because they affect you in everything, how you learn, how you relate with people. Are you more of a person that needs to see to relate with things? But these are the little inputs you put in your life. Like all of us, you see, Kyren, like Onoye, everybody here, right? Where we are right now is a compilation of like all the information that we've had, what we've been investing in ourselves, right? We're all an investment package. And it's important that you keep investing to see the actual thing that you want, the actual image that you want from now. So we're big on mentoring and coaching within the Visionary Academy, which is why we're doing things like that. And that's why December 18th, Global Youth Empowerment Summit, as well as our Genius Assessment and some more courses as well that will come out. It will be communicated to you. It will be communicated on the courses as well. And importantly, only the first 150 summit registrations receive access to the assessment once it's released. So definitely get on that, But all in all, I want you to really realize that mentorship is key. Mentorship is so key. Like being under somebody and also being in like a community of people that are thinking in the same direction. I remember my uncle saying something about how that, part of what even keeps us going is that you look around in your family, and that's, if you're graced to have at least a family with a lot of role models or examples. And it's like, by the time you see that this person didn't mess up, this person didn't mess up, this person didn't mess up, or you're one of those people that your parents told you that they did everything. They were the first in their class. They had a A1 in all their exams. They never failed an exam. They were hardworking. By the time you've heard all of that, it also puts the pressure on you. Like, yeah, you have to succeed. So environment is also key. Briefly about me, I'm meant to just share a bit of my story. Let's just say that when people see the kind of things that I'm doing, I mean, a lot of people, when they found out about this conference, they were like, oh, like, how did you get to this level of like, oh, speaking with people and having all these kind of things and stuff. And people are shocked with different things, but I'll tell you a bit of the story. I would say I wasn't that child that came into this world. And those people that they just have a spark in their brain, like their math is like this, bam. Everything about them is just bam, bam, bam. I'm telling you, in primary school, I was that guy, and people never believe it when I say it. I used to get straight Fs, like no cap. Hey, I said no cap. Kyren, I hope you heard that. Yeah, like no cap, like straight Fs. It was just all through, like, whoo, like that. And the worst part is that you cry about it when you honestly didn't study. Like, why this behavior? Why this behavior? Like, you didn't study. Like, this is primary school. Like, you didn't study. So why? Anyway, that was what was happening. But the Visionary Academy came to school at that time. And interestingly, they weren't having more math lessons or more physics. No physics in primary school. See, those things that they do in primary school, numeracy, literacy, all those good stuff, And they weren't doing that. They were teaching about things like traits. Right. And this is the thing, why I believe what they did was I would say it's spiritual, because you really can't explain the connection. They're teaching about things like hard work, diligence, positive mind. I don't know. They're just teaching things like that. And then all of a sudden, this F student starts to get C's. Then from C's, he gets the A's. Crazy. By the time I go into secondary school, I started giving them dust now. They were eating my back. You get me? So it was so interesting. But now my life is set in a certain direction. I think I also want everybody as well, wherever you are, just say, I am a success. It doesn't matter what you're going through, how it's happening, what you're dealing with now. Just keep saying, I am a success. Kyren said something so important. He said that you have to keep saying it and keep saying it and keep saying it and keep saying it, even if you don't believe it. Let me tell you something I learned from an interesting, he's a billionaire, Holton Buggs. He was explaining something about how he wanted to move his company from, what's it called? Like for like 7 years, they were at the same profits and everything and however they were doing, but he really wanted to upscale this thing, right? So he started making confessions, like listening to all these tapes, making confessions. And he said that he started lying to himself, but he lied to himself so long, that he could only think in that direction, upward. So he'll keep saying, I'm building a multi-billion-dollar company, this, and just keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And he talked so much, it's now become his mindset, his thinking, his upward and forward. And with time, most people don't wait out the confession enough to see the results, because they're like, why am I lying to myself? Well, you've acknowledged very well that you're in a mess right now. Now it's time to start talking identity. All right. Now it's time to start talking the real thing that you want to see. Honestly, in times where the pressure is there, I remember something, since we're sharing about the Spirit of God, the Spirit of God was showing me what true endurance or conviction is. And he was like, the ability for you to maintain the same confession, even when it seems like it's not true. The ability for you to keep saying, I'm the righteousness of God, right after you messed up. That takes conviction. That takes a certain level of mental power. Like, you're really like, you understand? Nah, this is my mentality. This is really who I am. I refuse to believe any other image. That's true strength. See, the ability to not surrender your confession to the condition you're going through. You understand? We have to be moved like that. You really have to determine the tide of your life, that kind of thing. So it's very, very key what we're doing. And, so I was that student, whatnot, graduated, blah, 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 in uni now, studying a law degree, whatnot. And it's the same principles of life as to your self-talk, your mindset, and doing the work. Very, very important. But with my life right now, I am, of course, student at UOB, University of Birmingham. People always say that it's what they call them, special schools, like kind of like what you say is an Ivy League school in US and whatnot. But it's my natural, so you know what I mean. It's a bit of a sticky one still. Yeah. So the thing is, you understand? Like, I'm living in that life. So I'm a law student there. I also do YouTube. I also do podcast. I'm also an author. I've got one book on Amazon, and we've got some major projects that we're going to. Look, 2022, yeah, it's a wrap. And it's not because we're waiting for it. We're going to hit it hard because we're working right now. See, because I'm focused on being an enigma. Do you understand? It's my mentality. You understand? My mentality. I want to shock this world with my success. That's everybody's mentality. That should be your mentality here. I'm shocking the world with my success. I refuse to be limited by the things that have happened to me, my past. We talked about things like distractions, past. How do you get over your past? Like, get over who you were before. I think Favor mentioned that, at the beginning of this, like getting over who you were before or what you did, stuff like that. Maybe this is something that you've done or that's going to affect you for a lifetime. It doesn't matter. You can still make a testimony out of it. You understand? Make a great story out of it. And all you need is God with you, the Spirit of God with you. And He'll direct your steps. Trust Him to direct your steps, really, So honestly, when I think about it, it's like we have this going on. We have the YouTube, authoring, podcasting. We're just looking at streams of influence and then also an international fellowship head, right? And so we're even looking into expanding right now, not to get too much into my business, but yeah, we're looking forward to expanding to more campuses, more places, doing major stuff. My point is, if I can think like this, despite my age, I'm 12 years of age, you understand what I mean? Some people understand, I'm always 12. So despite that age, we're still making things happen, all right? I got my first book out before I was, 19 or 18. So that's the point. You really, really need to be aiming high, working hard, and putting yourself out there. If there's anything to take back from this, is confidence. Confidence for sure. Be very, very confident and develop it. It's something that's developed. Realize it's a choice. You understand? Like, to still be confident, to still exude that level of, I'm the main person in this. So mentorship is key. The people that lead you. That's a bit about my story and what's next really with Visionary Academy as we're bringing this conference to a close. Global Youth Empowerment Summit, December. Kyren has spoken to you as well about, is it Kings, what did he call it? King's Business, King's Men, Kings, help me out here. What did he call it?
King's Academy.
King's Academy, yes. So King's Academy and then the Visionary Academy as well has got mentorship packages, different things for you. So keep updated with us, follow on social media as well. Kyren, follow myself, follow the Visionary Academy page. And, let's keep making impact. And like I said, I'm looking forward to having any of you as well speak at the Global Youth Empowerment Summit, whether it's in form of a testimonial that, hey, you know what, I heard such and such, and this is where I am right now. We want to know what's happening with you. You understand? Because your story is what's encouraging another person to produce another story, another testimony. You understand? So it's great. Has anybody got any question at all? Any question at all? Because I believe we have done it really for today. Any questions? Anybody, you can send in a question, whether it's for myself or still for Kyren or towards the Visionary Academy. Okay. Yep.
I don't have a question, but I do want to say, I only joined the last minute, but it's been really, really educational. Joining this meeting, it's been really, really good. So yeah, thank you guys very much.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. We love you so much, Emmanuel. So definitely make an impact, and definitely you can also respond to the email that sends you the thing and just say, oh yeah, this is my testimonial, just in case you don't want to share here and stuff like that. It impacted me, this, that, and the other. And definitely get in contact. If you're in a situation, definitely reach out for help. Those all who seek find, right? All who knock, it will be opened. Okay, so definitely ask and it will be given. You guys feeling my bars here? Yeah, Jesus bars. Okay, so yeah, that is it for today. This has been Arise 2021. Can I get a whoop whoop? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Whoop whoop in the chat. Let's go. Okay. Yeah, it's been Arise 2021. Okay, and it's been a great one. God is gracious and kind. I'm looking forward to seeing you all in December by the grace of God. Keep winning. Keep doing you. I'm going to post the registration link again for Global Youth Empowerment Summit. What equipping world changes? That's what we're themed. So that's the link. Definitely register ahead of time so that you don't have to bother with it later on in life. And definitely we're going to have some more powerful speakers as well there. Kyren may be there again. You never know, but don't miss the unction, because the unction or the function is stronger under the unction. You get me? You get me, bro? You get me? Some people get this thing. Man's not getting this thing. All right. Thank you very much for joining this. I love and appreciate every single one of you. The Visionary Academy is so proud of every single one of you for joining. Tell your friend not to miss the next one. Share the link with them as well. For now, it's been Didi, Kyren, the Visionary Academy as a whole, Onoye, all my wonderful speakers, Joseph, Favor, Henry, everybody. And we are signing out today. God bless you guys.